Welcome to NBCSN's coverage of NASCAR Sprint Cup Series racing from Talladega, presented by Quicken Loans. So many storylines to cover, and for those, let's go trackside to Mike Massaro.
And Rick, will start with the 20 car. After last week's disappointment in Kansas, Matt Kenseth's crew chief Jason Ratcliffe reminded him and the team to put it behind them. Focus on the positives. He reminded the team they led lots of laps. They executed perfectly before getting spun in the closing laps. He knows that's exactly what they need to do here again today. They need to rise to the occasion because, as Ratcliffe mentioned, they know they need to win to advance to round 3. Marty?
Mike, what's the last lap Dale Earnhardt Jr. led in 2015? That would be the final lap at Daytona in July when he put this 88 car in victory lane. We've heard it throughout the pre-race. Dale Earnhardt Jr. wants to run up front today. Unlike a lot of drivers who may want to ride in the back, he wants to dictate the pace of this race today. I asked him a moment ago, how you feeling? He said, I'm fine, but honestly, I'm nervous. I've been nervous all weekend. I'm just ready to get it started. Kelly?
A year ago, Kevin Harvick was in Joey Logano's shoes, already through to the next round of the chase. This year, he has just a 7-point cushion, but this team is confident. Rodney Childers saying it's the best car they've ever brought to a super speedway race. Their plan is to hook up with the 88 and try to keep up with him as long as possible and go for the win so Kevin Harvick can continue to defend his title. Dave?
6-time Talladega winner Jeff Gordon earned his 5th Coors Light pole here at Talladega yesterday. The 4-time champ needs a solid finish today to advance to round 3. Second would guarantee him in. First would be oh so sweet in his last Talladega run, Rick.
And we even heard the favorite of the race, Dale Earnhardt Jr., nervous prior to the start of this one. Ready to give the command. Today is Marcus Lemonis, host of CNBC's The Prophet, which premieres Wednesday night after the GOP debate. Marcus?
Ladies and gentlemen, here to deliver the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome the star of CNBC's The Prophet, Marcus Lemonis.
Race fans, get on your feet! Get up! On behalf of big brothers and big sisters, drivers, start your engines!
Command here, just do your deal.
The engines are fired. Do the nerves subside? Heck no. 188 laps in front of them.
Nothing in the world like race day at Talladega Super Speedway.
Talladega in it. Really, that's all you have to say is Talladega.
Well, if you're not locked in going into Talladega, you just need to close your eyes and pray.
If you have to go to Talladega with that on your shoulders, you're going to be nervous, sleepless nights.
Talladega looms.
Everything's going great. You got it all made. You're in a great spot in the points.
Half the field is going to be involved in this one.
That's when you really struggle at a place like Talladega because it's just, you're on pins and needles the whole day.
This is going to be something that I don't think anybody can actually predict.
It's such a white-knuckle experience. There's so many unknowns.
Welcome back to Talladega Super Speedway. It's time now for today's starting grid, brought to you by Quicken Loans. Up in front, Jeff Gordon. He won all the poles at plate tracks this season that we held qualifying. That's 12 career plate wins for Jeff Gordon. Casey Kane will start beside him. That completes the Hendrick Motorsport front row suite.
Row 2 is made up 2-time Talladega winner Jimmie Johnson, starting alongside Matt Kenseth, who's in a must-win situation, 35 points below the cut line.
In row 3, we have another driver, Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's in a must-win situation, but he has 6 wins here at Talladega, next to Trevor Bayne, 2011 Daytona 500 winner.
In row 4, Kevin Harvick won the last 3 cut races, and we're back in that situation again. Denny Hamlin beside him, won here in the spring of 2014.
Row 5, we have Ryan Blaney with his career best finish to 4th here in May, starting alongside the only chase driver at this point guaranteed to be locked in the next round, Joey Logano.
Row 6, Brad Keselowski, who has 3 wins here at Talladega, starting next to Tony Stewart, won this race in 2008.
Back in row 7, Paul Menard and Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch has 58 restrictor plate starts, but his best finish is 2nd. He did it 3 times, but's never won at a restrictor plate track.
Row 8 is Carl Edwards, who's 12 points above the cut line, and Kyle Busch, who's 6 below. Kyle Busch was knocked out of the chase in this race last year.
Row 9, we have Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Ryan Newman, who is 8 points below the cutoff.
Back in row 10, Greg Biffle. He got his first career win. It came at a plate race. And Danica Patrick, half of her career laps led have come right here at this very racetrack.
Row 11, we have Sam Hornish Jr. starting alongside David Reagan with 2 career wins, both on restrictor plate tracks.
Row 12, we have teammates Kyle Larson and Jamie McMurray, who is a 2-time Talladega winner.
Back in row 13, Austin Dillon and Eric Almirola. Eric Almirola, his only career win came at this type of racing back in Daytona.
Row 14, we have Michael McDowell and Casey Mears. Casey Mears, his last 5 top 10 finishes have all been in restrictor plate races.
Row 15, we have yet again another 2-time Talladega winner, and Clint Boyer, starting next to J.J. Ailey.
And back in row 16, A.J. Allmendinger. His best finish here, 5th in the spring of 2014.
In row 17, we have Michael Waltrip starting alongside Cole Witt.
Row 18, we have Bobby Labonte, the 2000 Cup champion, and Matt DiBenedetto.
Back in row 19, Alex Bowman and David Gilliland. David Gilliland's best career finish came here back in 2013, where he finished 2nd.
In row 20, we have Justin Allgaier and Josh Wise. Justin Allgaier will be going to the back of the field after some adjustments after an odd qualifying incident on pit road.
Row 21, we have Landon Castle, starting next to Travis Quaffle.
And at the back of the field, you see him rolling now. The 78 of Martin Truex Jr. His time disallowed in qualifying yesterday because he went below the double yellow lines. He was going through the tri-oval, so he'll have to start 43rd to the field. Let's welcome in one of our chase drivers, Brad Keselowski.
Hey, Brad, it's NBC booth. You with us?
Yes, sir, Jeff. How are you?
Oh, we're doing great. You guys are 7 points above the cut line. Tell us how that affects your strategy going into today's race.
Yeah, we might be 7 points above the cut line, Jeff, but if someone wins a race, that cut line moves up to basically 0 for us. So, you know, we need to go out there and run up front all day and put ourselves in a position to not worry about points by being up front.
So we've talked a lot in the booth today about the dangers of Talladega. What is the thing that you're concerned most of going into this race?
You know, wrecks are going to happen. There ain't nothing you can do about that, so I'm not really worried about it. If it's my day for that to happen, it is. If it ain't, it ain't. But probably the only thing that really concerns me is the race will go single file and I won't have a shot to make a move. But I feel like if it doesn't do that, we can control our own destiny and get up front, make something happen, and not have to worry about it, and hopefully bring home another Talladega win with Miller Lite Ford.
Brad, thanks for taking time for us today, and good luck.
Thank you.
We're going to ride along with a few drivers today, one of those being the 3 of Austin Dillon. He has the Sunoco in-car camera. He'll start 26th today. Carl Edwards has the Subway on board. Will start 15th back in row 8. We just heard from Brad Keselowski, the driver, the number 2. He has the Ford onboard camera. He'll start in row 6 back in 11th. Denny Hamlin has the Coca-Cola in-car camera, and he will start 8th today. Kevin Harvick just a spot in front of him, starting 7th with the Outback Steakhouse onboard camera. Dale Earnhardt Jr. starts in row 3. He has the Diet Mountain Dew in-car camera with him. Matt Kenseth has the Sprint on board, and he will start in row 2 in the 4th position. Up front, the best view to start this Talladega race with the Chevy in-car camera. Starting on the pole is Jeff Gordon. 43 cars rolling around Talladega Superspeedway. The green flag is coming up next.
Four wide, inches apart, 200 miles per hour. It's the signature of Talladega Superspeedway. Spellbinding and terrifying.
This is going to be something that I don't think anybody can actually predict.
Within this raging storm, 11 chase contenders will fight for every position they can get, knowing that their playoff run can come down to mere inches, and hoping that they avoid the big one.
Half the field is going to be involved in this one.
If there is such thing as a big one at Talladega, it just broke out in front of you.
Thanks to back-to-back wins, Joey Logano has forced his championship rivals into a race for survival.
Making sure someone else doesn't block their way into round 3. Logano's going to win again in Kansas.
And by day's end, 7 of them will join him in the round of 8, and 4 more will be eliminated. Who will rise above the storm?
Brad Keselowski wins it at Talladega. Brad Keselowski was not going to be denied.
and continue their march to a title.
Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway. Moments away from the green flag. For a closer look at Talladega Superspeedway, here are today's track facts presented by GE. Chase drivers that have had success at this track, none more than Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Gordon. Each have won 6 times at this track. Brad Keselowski, multiple wins. And then Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Matt Kenseth, and Denny Hamlin all have found victory lane here. I want to take a look at today's Sunoco fuel strategy. It's 188 laps, 500 miles, pit road speed 55 miles per hour. You'll have to keep your eye on that when we have green flag pit stops. And then that fuel window, 43 to 46 laps, Steve.
Yeah, while you don't think a restricted plate racing being a fuel mileage race, we have seen that at Talladega, not because there aren't cautions, but because people want to stay out, try to get to the front, control the race, much like Dale Jr. said in the pre-race.
And we see already Ryan Newman has moved to the back of the pack. Danica had to go to the back of the pack for a change to her car, unapproved change. But Ryan Newman, he voluntarily went to the back. You know what his strategy is right now. He's going to ride in the back and try to miss the wrecks.
He was scheduled to start 18th, but as you said, he voluntarily has moved to the back of the field.
He was so afraid he was going to get in a wreck, he didn't even want to start in the middle of the pack. He just immediately went to the back.
Pace car is off. The unique situation at Talladega Superspeedway is the fact that the restart zone is about the apex of the tri-oval, and the start-finish line is down further towards turn number 1. Jeff Gordon making his final Talladega start, leads the field. Green flags in the air. We're underway. To tail on the bottom line. The fourth leading the outside line as they come through 3 and 4 into the tri-oval for the first time.
It didn't take long for the 88 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. to be aggressive. He took the 23 wide on the backstretch to try to advance up in that bottom lane.
And 20 tried to block him. You can tell right there that 20 wants to be aggressive today as well. He tried to block him, couldn't get it done. Now the 20's in the outside lane.
2 and 3 wide on the second lap at Talladega. Jeff Gordon choosing the bottom line. He'll stay in front of whichever line has momentum. And right now, his teammates behind him. Kevin Harvick running 4th. Kasey Kahne on the outside running 5th. And then it's 3 wide and 4 wide for position behind him.
And this is the first time all weekend that these cars have been in this situation. We've had practices, but in these practices, everyone's very, very cautious. You don't see 3 wide, 2 wide, this many rows deep. So the drivers are trying to figure out what their car does well and what it doesn't do well. This is the first time they've been in this situation.
With restrictor plates on these engines, it takes them a while to get up to speed, almost a lap. But now, speeds upwards of 200 and 201 mile an hour as they go into turn 3. The entire pack looking like rush hour. Nose to tail, 2 and 3 wide as they go through the tri-oval once again. Mentioning it feels like you're on pins and needles every single lap here at Talladega. Dale Earnhardt Jr. moved over just next to the 5 of Kasey Kahne. That took air off of the 5 and allowed the inside line to move just a little bit further forward.
it's going to be an interesting situation if you have all 4 Hendrick cars running towards the front. Remember, we have 2 that need to get in, 2 that have been eliminated. The 48, he's already out of the chase. The 5 of Kasey Kahne, he didn't make the chase. Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt Jr. are the last 2 cars from Hendrick Motorsports that have an opportunity. How do they race each other towards the front of the pack?
And now the strategy starting to split up a bit as far as the pack spreading out. The drivers that started toward the back, Ryan Newman, Martin Truex Jr. Different strategies for those drivers and teams, as now we see Jeff Gordon moving up the racetrack a bit as he enters turn 3 and then back to the bottom. Already Kyle Busch on the radio talking. Let's listen.
We got shuffled out by the 19. You got to figure out how to go back and rewatch how that happens, because we got to be better than that.
19 is his teammate, Carl Edwards, and he's just saying, you know, I got shuffled out. I didn't want to go to the back of the pack. The 19 made a move that I wasn't anticipating, and he's thinking that there should have been a conversation prior to the race to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Jeff, you mentioned this weekend about the strategies as we see Carl Edwards and the gyro cam on the right side. 33 degrees of banking is what it feels like. You mentioned drivers talking before the race as far as working together. How much of that is a situation like Carl Edwards and Kyle Busch are in, trying to work together? Maybe the 2 of them can get back to the front if they do connect.
Well, you know, listen, I've been involved in this a lot. I think one of the problems with talking before the race is that it never seems to work out that way. And I think teammates expect more from each other, and ultimately they just get more disappointed with each other because, you know, at the end of it, you've got to do what's best for you and your team. If you're going to make a move, you got to make that move. If it's going to help you, you go do it, even if it makes your teammate mad. You have to take care of yourself.
Front of the pack is breaking up now. The 5 of Kasey Kahne has fallen back. So has the 48 of Jimmie Johnson. Jimmie Johnson trying to stay in front of the 4, but now momentum with the 4 of Kevin Harvick will get to the inside. Question is, where will Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt Jr. go through the turns? Will they stay in front of their teammate, or will they drop down in front of Harvick?
Well, I think the 88 of Dale Jr. already has passed the 5 and the 48, so I think he's shown his hand that he's not willing to ride behind anybody, even a teammate. He needs to get to the front and try to lead laps.
It's like the Pied Piper, Jeff Gordon leading the field around Talladega Superspeedway. Gordon looking to win in his final Talladega start. Today's aerial coverage provided by our partners at Smithfield Foods. Battle for the lead at Talladega. Dale Earnhardt Jr. had it, and now it's Denny Hamlin in front. Jeff Gordon on that high line now behind the 11. Now where will Denny Hamlin choose to run? 3 wide behind them. Hamlin trying to take the high line. Move it forward. Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to make the middle line work.
It's all about getting organized. You see how well organized the top lane is. You have the 11, the 24, 48, 5. Very compact. The 11 doing a good job of keeping them right behind him on the bumper, not getting out there too far. While the 88 is trying to form that middle lane, but he's having a little bit tougher time keeping the 22 and the 20 tight on his bumper.
For updates on this large group, start with Kelly Stavis.
A year ago, Brad Keselowski came to Talladega in a must-win situation and did just that. This year he started 7 points to the good, and with his teammate Joey Logano already through, he has 2 good allies to help push him to victory lane. Logano and Ryan Blaney in the 21 car. In fact, Keselowski was trying to run with the 21, but he moved up into that middle lane after hitting the 4 car. He's trying to get into that top 5, Mike.
Well, Kelly, Carl Edwards comes into this race 12 points to the good, but he hardly feels safe. In fact, he told me this morning, he said, the only thing we need to avoid is crashing. So in order to do that, he told me he's going to follow the flow of the race. If he can get to the front of the pack, he'll do that. But the last thing he wanted to do is hang out in the middle of the pack. And if he was stuck there, he would drop to the back. And that's exactly what he's done so far, Marty.
Mike, his teammate Kyle Busch is 6 points below the cut line, a position that Adam Stevens, his crew chief, described as terrifying. You see the lead, Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to get underneath Denny Hamlin and reclaim that lead, Rick, for the 88 car.
And he's making the momentum on the bottom of the racetrack work. He got to the inside of the 11, now has help with Matt Kenseth Can he complete the pass? Almost a dead heat. They cross the start-finish line. Dale Earnhardt Jr. now a little momentum. Peaks in front of the 11. Denny Hamlin relying so much on his spotter, Chris Lambert, letting him know which line is moving, giving him the opportunity to move in front of that line. And now, almost on his own, the 88 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. working that bottom line, trying to take the lead.
It was a close call right there for the 22 and the 24. They got caught 4 wide. It looked like almost a little bit of contact, and the 22 worked his way to get behind the 24. He didn't want to be 4 wide this early in the race.
See the 88 move up the racetrack, try to get closer to the 11 car. That stalls the 11 car out. It packs the air on the 11 car, stalls him out in an effort to keep the 11 from clearing him. That's going to be the game as this race evolves. We're going to start seeing more of that. We're going to start seeing more side drafter. We're going to see more blocking as this race evolves. Right now, positions matter, but they're going to matter more at the end of the race, and it's going to get really aggressive.
And we think it's hectic now. Think about a couple laps from now, or about 25 laps from now, when they're thinking about pitting, and they're 3 wide. The guy's trying to decide who's going to come with me when we come to pit road, as we see Dale Earnhardt Jr. out in front of the pack once again at Talladega.
Pitting here, it can be so difficult there, Rick. It's hard to try to come up with a plan because of this. If you're on the bottom line, you almost have to pit with the guys in the bottom line.
Marty.
Hey guys, for Dale Earnhardt Jr., you should hear TJ Majors on the radio every second saying which lane has momentum, and that's what Junior wants to know. That's why he weaves around the track. When Junior talks about dominating the pace of a race, this is what he means. When the lane has momentum, he wants to move there. But Junior loves this, the high line. If he can get there, that's where he would like to take everybody. That high line seems to work for him, Jeff, but that momentum of the pack is key if Junior's going to block runs like he's trying to block on Denny Hamlin right there.
Yeah, right now, as long as they're 3 wide, 2 wide, battling for the lead, he does not have that option. The only way he can try to drag everybody to the top, at some point he's got to find a way with people who are single file or only a few cars on the bottom, but right now it's not going to work. That's what he wants to do. His car is typically so fast that he can drag people to the top. People want to go run with him. So, you know, right now, though, he's having to block. He's having to do everything he can to try to maintain the lead.
Interesting scenario about to happen. Timmy Hill's lost the draft. He's driving the 62. The pack now is coming upon him at least 10 miles an hour, maybe 15 miles an hour faster than Timmy Hill, and it looks as though it's going to be close. They're going to catch him either in 3 and 4 or in the tri-oval. If they catch him in a turn, that whole pack has to work around that one car.
And as odd as this may sound, the corners actually sometimes have more grip here than the tri-oval. The tri-oval, with a little bit less banking, still has some corner to it. You see cars actually lose control in that first flat lane of the tri-oval, maybe more than anywhere else on the track.
Denny Hamlin back in front. Dale Earnhardt Jr. dives to the bottom of the track. 3 wide now as Jeff Gordon filling that middle lane. Coming up on the 62 of Timmy Hill. The pack will try to go below the 62 as Timmy Hill will stay up on the top of the track. But the 11 of Denny Hamlin falls back. After leading, now he's trying to hang on to a top 10 spot. Positions change that quickly as Jeff Gordon back out front. Dale Earnhardt Jr. with the momentum trying to take the lead back.
You see Dale Jr., he turned left because he saw the 20 car. His spotter was talking to him. He was looking in the mirror. He saw the 20 car with a little bit of a run. So he turned left to get in front of that 20 to get a drag, to get a push from the 20 to try to clear him for the lead.
What makes that so hard is those runs you see. That's not one car back. The energy of that move can start 4, 5, 6 cars back in the lane. If 2 cars get nose to tail, get connected really well, they can push the entire lane forward. As the leader, you have to know that momentum's coming.
Denny Hamlin went from leading all the way back to 9th. That is 8 spots lost. Welcome back to the CampingWorld.com 500. Get the ultimate pass to every moment of today's NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race with Race Buddy. Ride along with different drivers through multiple HD feeds and follow the race action with a live leaderboard. Tune in at NASCAR.com/Race Buddy. We want to ride along with one driver and listen in to one spotter, TJ Majors and the 88 team. Listen to how much TJ is talking during this run.
We're still working the bottom of the 48. Still got the 5 on that 48. 48's clear. First 3 cars all clear. First 4 cars are clear now. All your teammates in line with you. No threat yet. No threat with the 5 back there. He's still clear. 22 is now clear behind him there. I'll let you know if he makes a move. Yeah, he's trying to get to the outside of the 5. 5's blocking him up there. They're in line with you again on the bottom. They're in line. Got the 6 and 42 car trying to work the middle of the highway, and everybody else is in line with you, bud. 24, 48, 5, 22, all clear with you.
Giving him information almost 5 cars behind him. That shows you how important to the leader that momentum can be. He needs to know what's happening 4, 5, 6 cars back in the line.
And even though TJ Majors is talking to him,
5, 6 cars all clear with you. 642, first car's working the outside.
You know, even though he's talking to him, look at Dale Earnhardt Jr. move his head. Every time he moves his head, he's looking in the mirror. So if you pay attention, he's looking in the rearview mirror more than he's looking out of the front windshield. That's what you have to do when you're leading at Talladega, or when you're running in the middle of the pack. You have to control what's going on behind you. Pick a lane, decide where you're going to go. The only way you can do that is listen to your spotter and also look in the mirrors and then make decisions.
Jeff, as a driver, when your spotter gives you that information, which TJ is giving to Dale Earnhardt Jr., are you translating that into, okay, I need to worry about that guy?
6 cars all clear with you. The 11's now clear behind the 22. So you got the 20 and the 6 racing side by side back there. They're kind of single out now. Single file with you, man.
And that's the point. The 20 and the 6. Do you hear that and register that in your head? Okay, I know where those guys are. I know who those guys are.
Look, it's not so much who those guys are. It's more of the, as Steve's described it, the energy of what's behind you. What line is coming? What line do you may have to block? All these spotters that we're seeing now, they're the ones that are communicating that. The driver can't see 5 or 6 rows behind him. He can only see 1 or 2 rows behind him. So to anticipate what's coming, where the run is coming from, that's why you need that information. Now that we have a breakaway, we have these front 7 cars broken away. That's what you want. When you're in that position, you want that. Now, all these guys in this breakaway, their spotters are telling them, you're by yourself, you're in single file. None of these guys want to mess that up. They want to continue the single file to keep that run from behind coming at them.
And this is what Dale Jr. talked about. I want to lead. I want to control this race. How much better could it be for Dale Jr. to have 3 Hendrick teammates behind him, committed to him, staying in line? That's what makes this single file breakaway work. If you're too wide, it kills it. But single file, they're continuing to pull it. It actually lets Dale move a little bit off the bottom with some confidence to know the 24 is not going to look inside him.
And what Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson, what they have the advantage of right now is they're the front 3 cars. If the energy starts from behind, they can respond to it. If they see a move coming, they can block it before it gets to them. That's harder for Matt Kenseth at the tail end of this line. They could get to him double file and he not be able to block. Eventually that line, one of them will stall out, and then as you get closer to the front, you can start to block. That's why it's so important to have track position as this race goes further and further, because you can help make a move depending on what's coming from behind.
As we complete lap 27, time now for today's Subway Fresh Take. Kelly?
Denny Hamlin came into this race second in the chase standings with an 18-point cushion, but all 4 of the Joe Gibbs Racing cars trying to get through to the next round. When I asked his crew chief Dave Rogers how they might work as a team, he said, you know, we're all respectful of each other's position, but we're also all fighting for our lives. So we can only help each other to the point where it hurts our own performance. Right now he's running 6th, Mike.
And his Joe Gibbs Racing teammate, Matt Kenseth, in a completely different situation, Kelly. He's in a must-win situation. Obviously, a lot of pressure on the 20 team. I asked his crew chief, Jason Ratcliffe, this morning, how would you describe the demeanor of this team? He says it's fine. We're very poised. We've been in this position before. We know what we need to do. Marty?
Well, Mike, Jeff Burton called it at the top of the race. That was on purpose for Ryan Newman to drop to the back of the field. They were planning on running there the entire race all day. Anyway, Luke Lambert told me about lap 150. That's when he wants Ryan Newman to go towards the front. And look who he has back there with him. His best friend in the garage area, Martin Truex Jr. Doesn't hurt to have a drafting partner when you're in the back, does it, Dave?
It does not, Marty. And Martin started back there, of course, because of a qualifying rule break yesterday. Truex in the 78 went below the yellow line in his qualifying lap. That's against the rules, so they sent him to the back. But Cole Pearn, his crew chief, reminded me, you know what? In the last cutoff race to get to the second round at Dover, we started at the back of the field. They were were sent there after a pre-race penalty, and they went on and moved on to the next round. That's what they expect to do today, Rick.
200 miles an hour around Talladega Superspeedway. Dale Earnhardt Jr., your leader. Watch a live stream of every Sprint Cup Series race combined with additional camera angles, interactive driver stats, and track information with NBC Sports Live Extra. It's available on your laptop, tablet, smartphone, and connected TVs. NBC Sports Live Extra brings you closer to every race. Some of you might not want to be this close, going over 200 miles an hour. You're right along with Kevin Harvick right on the back bumper of that 6 of Trevor Bayne. On the left of your screen, chase points as they run. Dale Earnhardt Jr. up there in second behind Joey Logano. Logano with 2 wins is advancing. Dale Earnhardt Jr., because he's the leader of the race, is also in a position to advance. If he was not up front, right now he has just a 2-point lead as far as the cut line goes. That will change with every change of position on this racetrack. And we'll keep that up for you so that you can see where your favorite drivers are running and if they have a shot at making it into the 3rd round.
See the 20 car, Matt Kenseth on the the first car on the 3rd row on the outside. He made a move. Denny Hamlin made a move, and Matt could not end up going with him, and that ended up shuffling him back. So here's a guy that needs to win this race. And as we talked about before, he was on the tail end of that lead line. The pack caught him. He was not able to block both sides, and he has continually getting shuffled back.
Kyle Busch mentioned earlier about the fact of getting shuffled out. The 19 he thought shuffled him out. Well, now he's back up into the big pack. He's running 12th. Here was his radio moments ago.
We got oil coming out of the back of the 2 car here. Okay, 10-4. Yeah, they called him here on the radio.
That's huge. Oil coming out of the 2 of Brad Keselowski.
And we talk about all the things you can't control at Talladega, but that's something you can control. If this 2 has a mechanical problem, when you come to Talladega, we talked about it all weekend, Jeff, the schedule is very unique. It's almost a little laid back. Even though it's tense, you don't practice a whole lot. It's not like a regular downforce track. Mechanical problems can kill you.
The 2 of Brad Keselowski, 19 points ahead of the cut line, but potential issues for that 2. Out front, still Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Back at Talladega, where green flag pit stops are underway. That's Brad Keselowski in the 2 car. He won this race a year ago, hoping to break through into the top 5 of the pack. He couldn't quite make it. It was a 4-tire change for Brad Keselowski in that 2 car.
2 of the cars that were on pit road with him that will have to help out, Michael McDowell and the 21 of Ryan Blaney. Now those 3 cars are going to have to get up to speed and try to maintain what the pack is running, as you see Casey Mears and the 18 of Kyle Busch on pit road now, Marty.
And Rick, you had to coordinate if you're in the back of the pack. All these teams were negotiating when they were going to come to pit road. They all decided right here, Kyle Busch coming to pit road, Ryan Newman behind him as well. Kyle said, if anything, the cars are tick free. You see the wedge adjustment to tighten up 4 Goodyear tires, Kelly.
Denny Hamlin in the 11 car won for the first time at Talladega. Last spring, it was a 4-tire stop for him in the 11, Dave.
Truex from about 38, the wedge adjustment for a car that's a little bit free. 4 Goodyear tires, a full fill of Sunoco fuel. Waiting, and gone.
And now that pack is making their way off of pit road, and another pack of almost 15 cars making their way onto pit road as this one leaves. Green flag pit stops continuing amongst the group, the 4 of Kevin Harvick. Kelly.
Rodney Childers called that 4 car the best car they've ever brought to a super speedway race. They were feeling very confident, but they've got to be clean. It was a pit road mistake a week ago that could have cost him a top 5 finish. It's going to be a 4-tire change in Sunoco fuel for the 4, Dave.
Kurt Busch was running around the top 10 as he came to pit road, or before they all started coming to pit road. He'll get a wedge adjustment for a loose race car. He says we have to change the balance of this car, and he now leaves pit road.
The 3 who was on pit road, the last cycle of pit stop, or the last group of pit stops that came, had a uncontrolled wheel. They will have to do a pass-through penalty. And if they time it right, they should be on pit road with the rest of the cars that are on pit road now. Mike?
Matt Kenseth real happy with his race car so far, Rick. In fact, they asked him about his temperatures. They're thinking about adding some tape to the grill, maybe giving him some additional downforce, a 4-tire change for Kenseth, Marty.
Mike Dale Earnhardt Jr. was planning on a 2-tire stop. The car loose for Jr. They're going to take 2 rounds out of the right rear in wedge. But when he came to pit road, you saw him smoke the tires. They audible to a 4-tire stop for that 88, Dave.
Even before he came to pit road, they audible for a 4-tire stop for Jeff Gordon. That must have been what the crew chiefs were all talking about, because Jeff said, I'm good on my tires. But Alan Gustafson said, we're going to give you 4 good years.
This was a perfect example of, Steve, I know you mentioned earlier, number 1 pit stall might not always be the best pit stall. Well, Jeff Gordon, although he left in front of about 3 or 4 cars at the exit of pit road, they had momentum and were able to get by him.
Yeah, Dale Earnhardt Jr. coming from the 17th pit stall. He gets onto pit road, gets up to 55 miles an hour before he gets to the end. Jeff Gordon from the number 1 pit stall, he's leaving his pit box. He's at the end of pit road, so there's no longer a speed limit, but he's only going 45 or 50 miles an hour. He still has to increase his speed.
Dale Jr. was trying to get on pit road really hard and actually tried to get on a little bit too hard. Watch him smoke the front tires. He's got so much front brake in it that he's got both front tires locked up. And he really, look how far he's leading, but he had to slow down so much to get himself back to pit road speed that enabled the 24 and this whole pack to catch him. So he got in a little bit too hard. He did a really good job, if he ended up not getting penalized for speeding, of getting slowed down before he got in that first segment. But you could see how hard he was trying to carry speed to pit road.
And what a great audible. We talk about spotters. That's another job for the spotter. Get the driver on pit road, but when TJ Majors sees both front tires locked up on the 88, he's on the radio telling our guys, 4, 4, 4. You have to change all the tires now. You can't afford to have that left front tire have a problem. Go back on the racetrack.
And while the smoke is coming out, the front tires of the 88, watch the 22 of Logano here. Logano gets tagged in the back by none other than the 20 of Matt Kenseth as they're coming to inner pit road.
This is why we see Rex getting on pit road on super speedways. Everybody's coming on together. You try to come on at a certain speed, but there's always a closure rate that you're not expecting. It's not unusual to see Rex getting onto pit road. And also the strategy. Now the strategies. We talk about Daytona, Talladega strategies. Well, the strategy of 2 tires versus 4 tires. 2 tires ended up getting guys in front of guys that did 4. But does it affect handling? Typically, you want to do 2 here under green is what we normally see.
Green flag pit stops have cycled through. This is what the 20 of Matt Kenseth had to say on the radio about the incident.
Tell that 22 I'm going to knock his out after the race. You tell him. Tell him to hide behind his daddy. Came from the 3rd lane. I don't even think he was going to pit. Turned right down in front of me and brake checked me. 10-4, buddy. 10-4.
Definitely not helping the situation between the 2 drivers.
No, but Rick, we talked about strategies at the beginning of the race. Do you ride in the pack? Do you ride at the back? Well, the risk of riding in the back are green flag pit stops. You see here, a lot of chase cars in the front, some heavy racing, but the 78 of Martin Truex Jr. comes down pit road, decides to take 4 tires, has a little bit of trouble on pit road, loses the pack. He's currently almost a 1.5 seconds slower than the cars in the pack. The pack is on the backstretch right now. You see the 78 of Martin Truex Jr. in the middle of 1 and 2. This is a slow demise. He has to have a caution. If he doesn't have a caution, it's guaranteed the 78 will lose a lap on the racetrack.
If you're going to ride around in the back of the pack trying to avoid being in a wreck, before you pit under green flag, you have got to charge to the front. You've got to get yourself some track position so it gives you a cushion in case something does happen, so that maybe you're at the back of this pack, but you can still pick up the draft. You listen, if you're going to ride in the back, that's fine, but at the same time, you have to go toward the front of the pack to get before the green flag pit stops. That's just what you have to do because of this scenario.
And that all stems from the issue in qualifying, where Martin Truex Jr. went below the double yellow line. In qualifying, he was relegated to the back of the field. He has the 33 of Travis Kvapil with him, but he is definitely losing the pack. Out front, Jimmie Johnson leading at Talladega. Jimmie Johnson is doing what he needs to do. Out in front of Kasey Kahne, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Kyle Larson, Jeff Gordon, the top 5. And now they are lined up on the top of the racetrack. The 20 of Matt Kenseth all the way back in 20th, and Joey Logano running 13th, also up against the wall. A week ago at Kansas, with Matt Kenseth out front, Joey Logano with a run going into turn 1, got into the back bumper. That turned him around. Now just coming onto pit road, Joey Logano comes down in front of the 20 of Matt Kenseth. Again, this is what Kenseth had to say about the incident with Joey Logano.
Tell that 22 I'm going to knock his out after the race. You tell him. Tell him to hide behind his daddy. Came from the third lane. I don't even think he was going to pit. Turned right down in front of me and brake checked me. 10-4, buddy. 10-4.
Joey Logano, 2 wins in this round, guaranteed to move on to the third round. Matt Kenseth not guaranteed at all. Needs a great finish. Joey Logano is affecting Matt Kenseth's chance of continuing on for this championship.
Well, Joey Logano already, Matt Kenseth is upset with Joey Logano from last weekend. So that's why, Matt's already on edge. Anytime Joey Logano does anything at all, Matt's going to be upset about it. Without a doubt, Joey Logano turned in front of Matt, braked to get on the pit road. It was a late move, but you add today to last week, and that's why Matt's so frustrated already.
Mike? And guys, just want to add to that discussion. You could tell at the beginning of the weekend the frustration and the ill feelings lingered into this weekend. During Matt Kenseth's media session on Friday, he was asked several questions about it. You could tell by his tone and his very short and curt answers he was still thinking about it. A couple of things that I remember specifically, he was asked if Logano had reached out to him this week. He paused dramatically and said, no, he has not. And he was also asked about whether or not he thought it was intentional, the spin in Kansas. He said, if Joey says it was not intentional, then he's a liar. So there's some pretty strong statements from Kenseth. Still thinking about what happened last week, Dave.
And Mike, they told Joey Logano that Matt was livid on the radio, but it's not like Joey didn't know, and he didn't seem to really mind that much, and he just continued his play-by-play about the cars around him and how they're running. So they're taking it very matter-of-factly. Their job to get to the next round is done, and they just need to help their teammate number 2 today if they can.
As you notice on the left, the chase points as they run, the 88 no longer up in the top 8. He's not leading. He's running third. Jimmie Johnson leading at Talladega. It was the first Dover race of the year. Last time that Jimmie Johnson was in victory lane. That's 18 races since his last win, presented by Sprint. Stop in at Sprint and cut your rate plan in half. Just bring in your Verizon or AT&T wireless bill and turn in your old phone. Catching the lap traffic now is the pack, led by the 48 of Jimmie Johnson.
Yeah, we instantly see how important pit stops are. The 3 of Austin Dillon and the 43 of Eric Almirola had pit penalties, lost that track position. Now they're a lap down.
One other interesting thing, on the front of the 48, a bit of debris, and it was just one piece of what looked like paper, and now there's 2 pieces of paper up there.
Well, as odd as this may sound, as long as the temperatures are okay, you're going to see right here how the debris gets stuck in that car. I mean, it stays right there because that's where the air is going through the nose to the radiator. So as long as the temperatures don't overheat, which they normally won't. See, the issue with restricted plate racing is you have to run more grill open than you want, because when you get in the draft, if you're the 5 of Casey Kane, you're getting very little air into your nose because the 48's blocking it. So the 48, as odd as this may sound, being the leader, that debris is actually helping their car, making, reducing some drag, helping their car as long as the water doesn't run too warm.
And we saw Denny Hamlin, he got tired of riding up in the top lane. He made a move. The question is, who's going to go with him? You can't make that move by yourself if it's going to work. The 22 Logano went with him. 17 of Stenhouse, Menard, and McMurray all went with him. Let's see if this bottom lane can gain momentum and start making some moves to the front.
Marty?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. riding there in third, Rick. And a little bit of panic about 5 laps ago in the 88 camp. Jr. said he thought he might have a loose wheel, that he had a vibration. Greg Ives reported back to him that all the lug nuts did get tight. Jr. has not said a word about that since then. Jr. talked all weekend long about how he wanted to dominate this race, dictate the pace, but you get the feeling right now he's very comfortable riding there in third, Kelly.
Kevin Harvick started this race 7th. He had hoped to hook up with that 88 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Well, it didn't work out. We saw the 88 go to the front, but the 4 wasn't able to stick with him. You see him now behind another Ford right there. Last time down pit lane, they took 2 rounds of wet out of the right rear. Right now, Kevin Harvick saying the balance is fine. I just need to go faster. Dave?
You can see by the chase points as they run on the left, Kurt Busch in the 41 car is good for now, and that's a good sign. Yesterday, NASCAR demanded that all the Stewart-Haas racing cars make a change in their radiator ductwork. That was a long change that they had to make fast, according to crew chief Tony Gibson. He said it put us in a bad position because we don't know how the car is going to cool. So far, 220 on the water all day long, and the crew tells me that's good. Mike?
And Dave, Carl Edwards already to the good at the time being, but as he mentioned earlier today, nothing is safe. Things can change changed so dramatically. He did not want to find himself in the middle of the pack. However, that's exactly where he is right now, trying to find a way to work through traffic. It wasn't something he was able to work on during practice, so he's trying to science that out right now, trying to make his way to the front, trying to work the air here, trying to find where his car runs best. Rick?
Carl Edwards a long way from the front as he runs 32nd. Martin Truex Jr. about to go a lap down. He is running 37 and has lost the pack. They're going down the backstretch as the pack is coming out of turn 2. We ride along with the 19 of Carl Edwards at 32, 33 degrees at the center of turns 1 and 2.
See right there in front of the 19, the 10 of Daniel Kirkpatrick gets back into that top line. We have 2 lines being established. You can see out the windshield of the 19 way up there in the distance, 2 defined lines. The leader is trying to pull most of the cars around the top of the racetrack, but Denny Hamlin and the 22 of Joey Logano continue to work the bottom. But there's a strategy to that, Jeff, as a driver. How do you get the bottom line to work?
So the best way to get the bottom to work, to be honest with you, is run the smallest line possible. You want to go around the racetrack at the very bottom. Now, if you start to lose energy, the line starts going backwards, then what you've got to do on the straights, you got to go and put your door right next to the doors of the guys on the outside to try to slow that line down. But right now, the best strategy is to stay as far away from it as you can. Try to let those 8-9 cars that you have on the bottom build some energy and drag speed as you go in the shortest way around the racetrack. It's working a little bit. The 11 has gained about 3 spots since he tried this, and this is critical because if the outside line doesn't see any challenge from the inside line, then the outside line has no reason to make a move. If you make a move, you're going to go to the back. But all these cars, all these drivers see the inside working. That means, hey, it does work. And then if you're on the front lane, the 21 of Trevor Bayne, I'm sorry, the 21 of Blaney, he said, hey, I see the bottom working. He turned left. He wanted to be the leader of that bottom pack because if no one else pulls in front of him, he could possibly be the leader of the race in just a moment.
And not only what that 21 does is help the bottom, it hurts the top because when he pulls out a lane, Rick, the top loses momentum.
Spotters talking a lot again as that bottom line starts to gain some momentum.
Get a chance to win a 2016 Chevy Silverado C71 and a once-in-a-lifetime trip to NASCAR Champions Week in Las Vegas. Go to www.winyourchevy.com before November 11th to enter. No purchase necessary.
What a great vantage point to see the drivers getting shuffled back. Today's aerial coverage provided by our partners at Smithfield Foods. One of the cars that got shuffled back there, the 42 of Kyle Larson, after challenging for the lead, making that inside line work. He's shuffled all the way back, almost outside the top 15 now.
And you can see how shuffled up things are. And the inside lane got a big run and ended up changing everything. But as soon as the top got gathered up and got control, Junior immediately went back to the top, trying to make it single file once again.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. in front of that pack, running that high line, and you see the gap between the pack and the back. And that is Martin Truex Jr. that is part of this little group that's about to go a lap down.
All due to a slow pit stop. The 78 of Martin Truex Jr. chose to ride in the back of the pack. That was his strategy. As you said, Jeff, there's nothing wrong with that strategy as long as you don't make mistakes. Well, the 78 had over a 16-second four-tire pit stop. Right here, 3.5 seconds before the pit. After the pit, when he rejoined the racetrack, 11.5 seconds. Why is that a problem? Because 11.5 seconds, you're nowhere near the pack. So from then until now, he's 45 seconds behind the pack, really only a second from going a lap down because only with 2 or 3 cars, their lap times are so much slower than the entire pack.
But Tony Stewart is intentionally riding around in the behind, and he's 4 seconds back. So that's the point. If you're going to do this, if you're going to use this strategy, you have to go toward the middle of the pack, gain some space before the caution because you can't assume you're going to have good pit stops. You have to assume you're going to have a bad pit stop.
Martin Truex Jr. a lap down. The line of cars going by as Martin Truex Jr. will try to keep up this momentum, catch on to this pack.
This is worst case scenario, single file when they lap you. Look, there's nowhere for the 78 to get in. 2 and 3 wide, perhaps he can find a hole, but single file, those front 20 cars are going by quickly.
Martin's mission right now is to be the first car 1 lap down. If you're the first car 1 lap down, that when the caution comes out, that will put you in a position to get the free pass. However, it's going to be difficult to do. The more bottled up, the more action we see, the harder that'll be to happen. So really, I believe what Martin wants is single file. As you can see right here, he's racing these guys. It's now 3 wide. The guys that he's racing to be the first car lap down, the 33 right there, the black car, he's racing them to be the first car lap down. This 3 wide gives him an opportunity to get in front of Martin Truex.
The issue he's going to have is the 43 had an issue on pit road. He's a lap down. The 3 of Austin Dillon had an issue. Those are 2 or 3 fast cars that have had issues. Really makes it more difficult to run for that lucky dog.
How does that affect Martin Truex Jr.'s dreams of being a champion? Now he's 11 points below the cut line and one of the 4 cars that would be eliminated going into round 3. Right on that cut line, the 4 defending series champion Kevin Harvick. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88s inside the top 8 that would advance because he is leading once again at Talladega. He's won here 6 times before. Can he win a 7th and punch his ticket into round 3? Chase for the Sprint Cup. '73 laps complete. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has led 36 of them. He's got the most laps led. Presented by Sprint. Follow Miss Sprint Cup on Twitter now for a chance to win an autographed hat from tonight's Victory Lane. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in front of the field at Talladega. Behind him, Paul Menard, Denny Hamlin, David Gilliland, Jimmy Johnson. They are the top 5. Dale Earnhardt Jr. had been mentioning the possibility of a vibration, and he said it on the radio that he might know why he has that vibration. Listen.
The vibration isn't as bad. Out front, it's a very small difference, though. I did wheel hopping pretty bad getting on the pit road. I had the brake pedal go to the floor on the first push, and so I missed pit road pretty bad. So might have been something there in the rear end. It's just a little shaky.
So we saw earlier, Rick, how hard the 88 tried to get to pit road. And you hear there, he said he had a little trouble with the brake pedal, and he wheel hopped. What wheel hop means is he downshifts the gear before the cars slow down. Listen here. I mean, you can see and hear the car physically shaking when he downshifts in the second gear. That's because he hadn't got the car slowed down. He couldn't speed on pit road, so he has to use the gear to slow it down. But it's odd, Jeff, that he had such braking issues getting to pit road.
But one of the things you have to do, and especially as a leader, you're never using the brakes when you're behind other cars to keep from running into the back of them. So you have to pump your brakes. When you know you're coming to pit road, you actually have to pump your brakes a little bit down the back straightaway and into the corners before you get to pit road to prevent that from happening, because you don't use brakes here. So the pistons are always getting pushed away. You have to push them back out by using your foot to do that. Had he not wheel hopped it, he would have sped on pit road. The danger of wheel hopping, and what scares me, is will the rear gear brake, will the drive shaft brake, will the transmission brake. That's very, very hard on those components. Also hard on components is leaving pit road hard. So that extra stress that he had to put on those components to get his pit road speed down where it needed to be, that could affect him later in this race.
Yeah, guess what's coming up in the next 10 laps? More green flag pit stops. So they need to remind him, hey, we are already hard on our equipment. Maybe be a little easier this time.
We're going to take a quick break, so we're back for those green flag pit stops. We're coming up. Dale Earnhardt Jr. leading again at Talladega.
The ticket.
Back at Talladega, lap 78. Leaders pitting early here. Chasers pitting early, I should say. Ryan Newman very early in this window, taking on 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel. Ryan been riding in the back, happy with the handling. No adjustments to that 31 car with the chassis. Rick?
And he's going to need some help. With only 2 cars now, 3 cars on pit road. Too big of a gap for those 3 cars. They will need some help, but that starts the flow of cars making their way onto pit road. Dale Earnhardt Jr. still in front. Jamie McMurray running second. And now you see numerous cars making their way onto pit road for this second cycle of pit stops. Marty.
Kyle Busch ran in the top 10 for almost all that run, Rick. It's going to be 4 tires here. No chassis changes, just a little air pressure adjustment. Car just a little bit free, Kelly.
Denny Hamlin in the 11 was running in the top 5 when he came in to stop. He said he was a little bit loose in and off. They're going to try to make a track bar adjustment to help him out. A little bit of a long stop there. Meanwhile, the 2 of Brad Keselowski said the pace is so fast that my temps are rising. He also had a little piece of debris that they just wiped off the grill.
And we see him working their way off of pit road. Look at once again the smoke rolling out from underneath the 88. Trying to slow down to pit road speed, 55 miles an hour. Dale Earnhardt Jr. giving up the lead. Michael Waltrip out front now. Here he comes, Marty.
And Rick, this time it was planned already for a 4-tire stop for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Got to get 2 full cans of Sunoco fuel going in, and a little bit of an adjustment to tighten up that race car, Dave.
Kurt Busch's car was looser, longer. He'll get a 4-tire stop for the 41 bunch and a full load of Sunoco fuel. As for the 24 of Jeff Gordon, pretty quiet this run. He's been happy with that 24 car. He will also get a 4-tire stop.
Last group that came through pit road, 95 of Michael McDowell. Too fast exiting. He'll have to do a pass-through penalty. This time it was the 48, the 78, able to get out in front of the 88 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Again, Martin Truex Jr. scored 1 lap down. The only chaser not on the lead lap. Martin Truex Jr. not in a position to get the free pass, though, if a caution were to come out. And we have been caution-free since the drop of the green flag. This is the longest run a race has started caution-free since it went green the entire race back in October of 2002.
You see right away, it's not only how good you get on and off pit road, but how well you get organized when you get back onto the racetrack. You see the 18, the 11 of the Joe Gibbs teammates got organized very quickly at the front of the field. All 3 Penske cars, or 2 Penske cars and Wood Brother Racing cars get organized. And now it's all about getting back on the track, getting back up to speed, being as efficient as possible.
A little over 100 laps remaining for Talladega. And in those 100 laps, 11 drivers still trying to figure out if they will have an opportunity to continue their chase for the Sprint Cup. Dave.
And Rick, in the do whatever you can category, the 78 team chose to take only right side tires, and that's about how long it took to get it full of Sunoco fuel. So if the other guys he's racing for that free pass position took 4, it might be one way for the 78 to gain some ground.
That's a great point, Dave. At this point, you have to continue to race. You can't hang your head about being a lap down. It takes about 5.5 seconds to change right side tires, Rick. You can fill the tank up with about 9 seconds. That's still 3 or 4 or 5 seconds quicker than a 4-tire pit stop. The 78 is in a different race right now. They're racing to get that lap back. That has to be their biggest concern.
88 closed the gap very quickly on the 2 of Jimmy Johnson. Paul Menard, the race leader in the 27. Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, Brad Keselowski, Jimmy Johnson, the top 5. Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to make that outside line work once again. He has Kurt Busch behind him. Denny Hamlin running 8. Kelly, what's happening with Denny?
You may have noticed at the end of that pit stop, the crew on the 11 car fixing something or hitting something on the roof of that car. They said the latch for the root hatch is broken. There's an issue. You can see that little bit of a gap flying up there, and Denny's saying we got to do something about it or this sucker's going to fly off. No plans, though, just yet to bring him back down pit road, but you can see that the crew here for the 11 is certainly on standby.
That is huge for Denny Hamlin. The implications of him not advancing out of round number 2.
And this puts NASCAR in a difficult situation, too. You know, if that green flag were to come off and fly on the racetrack, you know, this may put NASCAR in a position of having to black flag Denny Hamlin and make them come and fix this.
So, because this is an odd thing, people don't understand that roof. This isn't the roof flap that keeps the car from flipping over. keeps the car on the ground. This is a hatch. The teams are allowed to run above the driver. The idea is to give the driver an alternate escape route. If he has to get out of the car in a hurry, he can come up basically vertically, right out of the seat, right through the roof. It's latched in the front and the back. It can open either direction. It's somewhat of a complicated system because, as you can see, it's very important for it to stay attached. But this, we've never seen them come loose. They're actually... You hear him, bring it to us. This is this is not going to be an easy fix. I'm not sure how they're going to fix it. They got to hope the latch is still intact.
That is the question. How are they going to fix this? This is something that they only run these hatches on the restrictor plate races. This is not something the teams have a lot of familiarity with because they don't run them every single weekend. So I'm not sure how they set a game plan knowing how to fix this with the little bit of experience that teams have in dealing with it.
Remember, Denny Hamlin coming into this race had the best cushion, 18 points. But here at Talladega with so many cars in the lead lap, 33 cars in the lead lap, he's going to lose well more than 18 points having to pit.
NASCAR is notifying the 11 team they have to work up a plan to fix that hatch. And so Denny Hamlin waving out the window, letting the drivers know he needs to get down to the bottom of the track so that he can get to pit road. It's not as easy as just waving your hand, though. You see Denny Hamlin running it almost 200 miles an hour. Now he's down and will make his way to pit road. They will try to fix that escape hatch just above the driver.
It's an optional hatch, Rick, so they do have the opportunity. If they get it resealed, they can tape it down. They can seal it however they need to seal it. It's not required to be in the race car. Unlike the other safety devices that are required, they would have to leave them operational. The hatch isn't required. You see it comes down at slow speeds, Kelly.
And as you suggested, Steve Letarte, they could tape it down, and that's what it looks like. I see them. They've got the strips of Barabon and some tape to try to get that latch hatch down. It was actually pretty quick there. You saw they also gave him some Sunoco fuel while they had him down here on pit road. Now we'll just have to wait and see if that holds.
The back piece of tape already coming off. Just as they were leaving, the piece of tape they put on the back of the hatch almost has come off already.
The tape that they use, the Barabon that Kelly talked about, that is an extremely strong tape. When you stick it to something, you can hardly get it to come off. So those great big wide strips that you saw them putting on the leading edge of the hatch, that's what they're hoping the strength is. You see the black part right on the front of the hatch. That's where they're hoping the strength will come from to hold it down.
The concern is the air pressure on these race cars is tremendous at 200 miles an hour. And even worse than that, the air movement in this pack is violent. You see body seams break, crush panels break, just from the air buffeting around the cars. You have to question if one piece of tape's going to hold it. While I know they didn't want to lose more time than needed to fix it, coming to pit road is going to be even worse if they have to come again.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't surround the entire panel with tape. Take the time to go ahead and surround the entire panel. Take a little bit extra time. Even if it got you a full lap down, you still needed to make sure it wasn't going to come up. Now, if it doesn't come up again, they did the right thing. But if it does come up and they have to pit again, they're going to wish they would have taken more time.
They used a cleaner when they got there initially to try to spray on there to clean any of the debris or any type of fluid that might have been on there so the tape would stick better. But that back piece of tape didn't stick. The front piece of tape still looks like it's holding.
And listen, it could stick right now and everything's fine, but as soon as he gets in the pack and the pack is catching him, there is so much more turbulence when you're around 30, 35 cars versus behind one. So everything could look great right now, but when he gets in that pack, it could start to be a big problem again.
And they're not required to put a tether on that. There are two latches, but they're not required to have a tether on that escape hatch.
Yeah, the way the system works is the latch in the front and in the back. That way, for whatever situation the car's in, the driver has multiple opportunities to escape. He can unhook the front, he can unhook the rear. In theory, if you unhook them both, the whole panel will come out of the race car. Safety innovations are very important, but this is one that's somewhat new, and that's why it's optional for these drivers. I want to make that clear. They do not have to run it. You see the 33 right in front of it. It doesn't have a hatch. As we see the 11 start to come loose again, it's not going to stay on there very long.
The tape is trying to hold, but as you mentioned, Jeff, once he gets into the pack or once he gets behind another car like he is now, that air buffeting across the top of the car, pulling that hatch up. I want to make mention the 21 of Ryan Blaney. They had issues. The engine expiring. And the 21 out in front of the 41 and the 20 as you look almost with issues of the 41, the 20, and the 18 as he slows at a rapid rate.
And that's what Denny Hamlin needed.
Garage, by the way.
Denny Hamlin needed fluid to come out of that 21 car. He needed a caution. That would give them the time to make the necessary repairs as the hatch continues to get worse and worse. They're going to have to make another trip to pit road.
They tried to tape both the front and the back.
You got the pit again.
The back did not stick. The front, not enough tape to hold that hatch down. They're going to have to pit again. Out in front, Joey Logano. He's won the first 2 races of this second round. And he's in front of the pack once again. Paul Menard, Kasey Kahne, Kevin Harvick, Clint Bowyer, the top 5 at Talladega. Welcome back to the CampingWorld.com 500 NASCAR Mobile. It's the best way to follow your favorite drivers, build your own leaderboards, listen to driver in-car audio, and watch live in-car cameras. Go to NASCAR.com/mobile. All right, let's see which drivers are topping the Xfinity speed charts. And speeds over 203 miles an hour. 204 for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has turned the fastest lap here at Talladega Superspeedway. A mix of chase drivers and drivers not involved in the chase. The race led by Joey Logano. Clint Bowyer challenging on the outside, running in the top 2. Kevin Harvick, Kasey Kahne, Jimmie Johnson, all in the top 5. Kyle Larson, Jeff Gordon, Kyle Busch, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Jamie McMurray in the top 10. Denny Hamlin once again was on pit road to try to fix the escape hatch at the top of his car. He has now scored 2 laps down in 39th. A little closer look. We want to take a look at what's going on with that roof hatch.
This roof hatch, like Steve talked about, is an escape hatch for safety. If you look above Austin's head, you can see the air. You can see and there's a latch, part of the mechanism that makes it work. It looks to us like, looking at the in-car camera, that part right there is broken on the 11 car, and that's what they've had to try to fix. They cannot fix that latch. They're just trying to get the roof hatch down, taped up so it can't go anywhere.
Too wide for the lead. Kevin Harvick, Clint Bowyer, Joey Logano also up there trying to make that lower line work. Kyle Larson moving around just in front of the 48 of Jimmie Johnson. Now the air a big issue as this pack 3 wide, 8 rows deep. Clint Bowyer making that outside line work. Kevin Harvick trying to stay in front of the pack. Kelly.
And early in this race, he said balance was good. He was just lacking the speed. Sounds like they found something along with a little help to get to the front. After their mistake last week at Kansas, seemed like the whole team was really uptight and upset. Crew Chief Rodney Childers had a talk with them Tuesday morning and said, look, don't panic. We're not starving. We're not out there searching for food. We race for a living. This is what we've always wanted to do. Let's get back to the basics. We need to relax. If we start trying too hard, that's when the mistakes will come.
Kelly, Jeff Gordon is stuck in the middle of this pack up front. He's got a fast race car, but he made a mistake here in May. Ask Crew Chief Alan Gustafson about that, if they made anything better for Jeff in terms of entering pit road, and they did. They re-engineered it so that he could enter pit road more smoothly. He did it on that first and second stop.
Furthest back, we've seen Dale Earnhardt Jr. fall all day long. Once again, Junior radioed to the crew, I think we have a vibration. He said it feels like the left rear's all over the place. He hasn't mentioned much about the vibration since then. They reminded him, turn on the rear fans. Twice now we've seen Junior slide the tires coming to pit road. They added some rear brake. Hopefully it doesn't happen on the next stop, Mike.
And Marty, talking with Matt Kenseth's crew chief Jason Ratcliffe this morning, he said, look, we've got a great race car when it comes to speed. My only concern really is getting through traffic. And he finds himself right now 15th in the middle of the pack. That's not where they want to be. Matt wants to get back to the front as desperately as possible because he feels like that's where his car runs the best. He's in a dangerous position. He needs to take himself out of it. Rick?
A lot of drivers in a dangerous position. Over 200 miles an hour. Kevin Harvick out in front, leading the cut race in this second round. As they run 2 and 3 wide, let's take a look at the Mobil 1 performance factors.
We talk about Talladega and the unpredictability. Well, don't make your own mistakes. Already today, we've seen the 78 have a slow pit stop, lose a lap. The 11 have an issue with the roof flap. Don't beat yourself. The track is challenging enough. And then where are all the cautions? We're 102 laps into this race. It continues to be green. Something tells me that that can't go that way, but it might. We're going to have to see how the last 80 laps or so of this race fall.
Out in front of the field, Kasey Kahne. He is now leading at Talladega. Ron Chaser. Right behind him, though, Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano, Jeff Gordon, Kyle Larson. Maybe some miscommunication between the 11 team and their driver. This is what they had to say on the radio just moments ago.
They're not telling us we have to pit. They are not telling us we have a spare one in the garage. We have a spare one here. He's on, guys. He's on. All right, we got to get a little better communication. When you say they're saying I've got to come, I'm assuming you're saying NASCAR. Okay? Or Denny, that's my fault. Put that on me. I'm trying to communicate with the officials here. I misunderstood, but okay.
And with that second stop, they went 2 laps down. That could put Denny Hamlin out of the chase.
So from what we understand, NASCAR was informing the 11 to come up with a plan to fix it, not requiring them to pit the second time. And NASCAR does that. If you have a situation with your car that they don't think needs to be attended to right away, they at least let you know before you pit, hey, come up with a plan, because when you come down pit road, we want to see some attention paid to this issue.
But I think it's important to know that as that run continued, the roof lap was continuing to get worse and worse and worse. So it wouldn't surprise me 2 laps from there if NASCAR wasn't saying, hey, you are going to have to come, because it had started to look the same way it looked on the first time.
And look how close that's put him on the left-hand side of your screen in the points. You see the 11. He's currently +6. What's helping him out is the 78, who's -6 points. He's also a lap down in 32nd. The concerning thing is Ryan Newman, -9. He's only -9 because he's choosing to ride in the back. He's in the 27th position. This race at the finish, we've already seen crazy finishes here. 2, 3, 4, 5 positions just in the trial will be gained or lost. The 11 situation being laps down, he doesn't have a lot to gain unless he can get some of these laps back.
It's hard to get 2 laps back. It's much easier to get 1 back. When you're 1 down, you have the opportunity to get the free pass and those kind of issues. You do not have that same opportunity when you're 2 laps down. So it's very, much more difficult from 2 down versus 1.
So many people showing up at Talladega, Alabama to watch this, the next cut race, elimination race, the playoffs for NASCAR's biggest prize. Great crowd on hand once again, watching an unbelievable feat. 43 cars continuing to negotiate, now 42, continuing to negotiate around this 2.66 mile super speedway, and we haven't had a caution. The record at this track for cautions, they've not come out 3 races. We've gone caution-free 3 times here. The last time was October 2002.
One thing that's so unique about this racetrack, because of its size, because of its layout, and because of the huge crowd, when there's an issue on the racetrack, you can hear the crowd over the race cars. It's unbelievable.
What is unbelievable right now is they continue to work caution-free. Kasey Kahne out front. Tomorrow, Dan Patrick talks with the Sprint Cup Series race winner from Talladega Superspeedway. Don't miss Dan Patrick. Weekday mornings, 9 a.m. to noon on NBCSN. What a gorgeous shot that is. Today's aerial coverage provided by our partners at Smithfield Foods. As the field continues to rocket down the backstretch at Talladega Superspeedway, let's see who's on the move. Brought to you by Diet Mountain Dew. Since the restart, Clint Bowyer made up 24 positions. Clint Bowyer on the move. Allgaier, Danica Patrick, David Gilliland, Tony Stewart, all increasing their positions over 15 spots.
Clint Bowyer was one of those drivers that has been riding around in the back of the pack. During one of the green flag pit stops, he worked himself back up to the front, and when he got there, he stayed there. And I think that's one thing all these green flag laps are making these guys riding out in the back think, when do I need to make my move? What they're betting is that the caution is going to come out due to a wreck, but we haven't seen that yet. So if you're Ryan Newman, if you're Carl Edwards, when do you make your move? All these green flag laps have made that little more complicated decision.
2, 3, and even 4 wide at Talladega at over 200 miles an hour. Green flag pit stops coming up next. Welcome back back to NBCSN's coverage of NASCAR Sprint Cup Series racing from Talladega, presented by Quicken Loans. Kasey Kahne is in front of a field that has gone over 115 laps caution-free. Denny Hamlin, see him going another lap down. He has had issues with a roof hatch. 11 different drivers have been out front, 18 lead changes between those 11 drivers. 29 cars still on the lead lap. 2 chase drivers are not on the lead lap, Martin Truex Jr. and Denny Hamlin. Points as they run. Joey Logano with 2 wins will advance into the 3rd round of the playoffs. The other 11 drivers fighting for 7 spots. Only 8 will move forward. We have the points as they run on the left side of the screen. Kasey Kahne, not a chase driver, out in front, but he's got Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jimmy Johnson, another non-chaser in the top 5, and Kevin Harvick.
We have a big battle, too. You mentioned Martin Truex Jr. a lap down. You see right here, right behind the single file, is the 95 of Michael McDowell, 70 of Martin Truex, 3 of Austin Dillon. That right there were currently 3 wide. That is the race for the lucky dog. That is a major moment for the 78. He needs to get that lap back to try to gain those points. You see on the left side as they run, currently 4 points outside of the chase. How is he going to get those 4 points back? Well, he has to get on the lead lap first.
And he's underneath the 3 car. That's the car right now that he's racing now. They both got by the 95. So even though they're not racing anywhere near for the lead, this could be the difference between advancing into the championship. You see Martin Truex with his hand out his window,
signifying he's going to come to pit road.
Right, signaling to the guys behind him.
So as Martin Truex Jr. rocketing around this track at nearly 200 miles an hour, letting the drivers behind him know he wants to come to pit road this time. And he doesn't come off of pit road. Drivers behind him do. And this one having issues. That's Casey Mears in the 13. Couldn't slow down enough. Getting onto pit road. Damage to the back of that car. It looks as though there has been some contact between another car and the 13 of Casey Mears.
You see this at Talladega all the time. It's very difficult to get on pit road. You see the 20, actually the 38 of Gillen hit the 13, got the 13 going way fast he wanted to go, could not get slowed down. 13's in the grass, will probably have a penalty for speed. And it looked like to me he was way above pit road speed.
And Casey Mears probably didn't want to come to pit road there, but David Gillen getting into the back of him pushed him into the apron, and then he had to come to pit road.
I think Casey was coming on to pit road. It's just we saw Truex with his hand out the window signaling. That's why you do that, to try to keep him from getting run over as you come on pit road.
And now the big pack making its way to pit road, Mike.
And Matt Kenseth coming down pit road. He knows he needs to win today. The car needs to be better in order to do that. He's struggling right now in traffic. You can see the wedge wrench going in on the right side. They'll make a change there and a 4-tire change, Marty.
Mike, pretty much the whole lead pack coming in, including Dale Earnhardt Jr. this time. It'll be 2 tires only for the right side for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Also a wedge adjustment car just a little bit loose, Kelly.
Kevin Harvick running inside the top 5 that last fuel run. They've already made big wedge adjustments to the left and right sides. That time, 4-tire change for the 4 car of Kevin Harvick.
And racing off of pit road, very interesting there between the 88 and 48. That's the first 2-tire stop that Dale Earnhardt Jr. has been able to do because he slid the tires the 2 previous stops before. He has a 2-tire stop, and it looked as though his teammate may have cut him a little bit of a break coming off of pit road. Marty, here comes the 31.
Ryan Newman coming down pit road. He said the car was very good on that run again. Riding in the back, waiting for the time to go for Ryan Newman. No change. Oh, a little change right there with a wedge. 4-tire change for Ryan Newman. Kyle Busch a little further up pit road is going to go 4 tires as well. His car was a little bit free. An air pressure adjustment to tighten up that 18 car.
I'm really surprised, Rick. I would expect to see more 2-tire changes. The tire Goodyear brings here is normally so durable. We see a lot of 2-tire changes through the course of this race. We're seeing a lot of 4-tire changes, but I wonder if that's not just coming to pit road. We've seen a lot of tires locked up. Dale Earnhardt Jr., though, he's made it known all week he wants to be at the front of this line, and here he is.
And we're hearing a very disappointing news for that 88 team. They had guys over the wall too soon. They're going to have to do a pass-through penalty. That could enable or knock out Dale Earnhardt Jr. from the possibility of winning a championship.
We talked about it earlier. You have to eliminate the mistakes. That's a simple mistake. You're allowed to jump over pit wall one pit box early. Here you see on the left side of your screen the official informant, Greg Ives, Marty, of the penalty.
And see, they have not told Dale Earnhardt Jr. the news yet. You see on the left-hand side of your screen, Greg Ives pleading his case with the NASCAR official. He wants to see the video, I believe, but they have not told Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's actually out front right now, and they just now have told him, we have an over-the-wall too soon, a drive-through penalty, but we're checking on it.
Gotta come. You sure? Yep, gotta come.
So Dale Earnhardt Jr. has been told he has to come.
Penalty, we're going to come this time.
The hand goes out the window, letting the 48 team know, and everyone behind him, he's got to come to pit road.
That's the important thing. We just saw the 13 got run into. He has to, I mean, it's not good that he has to pit, but let's not make it worse. Let's not get spun coming to pit road, because the 48 of Jimmy Johnson would have no idea that the 88 would have to come in.
So he has to check
here, nice and smooth here. 4600.
The spotter letting him know.
That's the key, nice and smooth. You cannot flat spot the tires. If you do, you'd have to pit and change tires. You want this stop to be as quick as you can. You're serving a penalty. You do not want to have to stop. You just want to roll through here as quickly as possible.
4,600 on the tachometer, the RPMs. They don't have speedometers in these cars.
All the way to the cone here. All the way to the cone.
You heard the spotter saying all the way to the cone. What he's saying is continue to maintain pit road speed until you get to the cone. Again, don't make the situation worse. Don't speed down pit road. You're going to be way behind the leaders anyway. Don't make yourself have to serve another penalty.
And also,
now the problem, Junior's all by himself. There's no one on the racetrack to help him. The speed he's going to be running is so much slower than the pack that's coming behind him. So unless he gets a caution quickly, the pack's going to catch him at a high rate of speed, and he'll go another lap down. We'll go a lap down, not another lap down. Marty.
Here's the problem, Jeff. As you mentioned, they've got to find a drafting partner. You saw on the top of your screen, Justin Allgaier's team was also penalized for the same thing as Dale Earnhardt Jr. So they're going to try and hook up with a 51, but that pack is going to catch them so fast. The one thing Greg Ives told me this morning, we need to avoid the wreck. We have to have a clean day on pit road. The 88 has had so many problems on pit road this year. You certainly hope for the 88 team this doesn't take them out of the chase.
Yeah, Marty, you can see Allgaier was so far behind Junior. There's no help there. The only way to get to him is to back up so much. He'd be backing right up into the front of the pack. So Junior's just got to go and run the best he can and hope the caution comes out before the leaders catch him. And if the leaders do catch him, then he's in the same situation. Be the first car lap down.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to stay on the lead lap. We continue caution-free from Talladega. Welcome back to the CampingWorld.com 500. Get news, results, and highlights delivered straight to your inbox. Subscribe to the free official NASCAR newsletter at NASCAR.com/newsletter. Pack is thinned out and running single file at the bottom of the track. Jimmy Johnson is out front. The 88 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. still on the lead lap, but running 27th just in front of the pack. The reason why he's out there by himself was the penalty on pit road.
The rule is, Rick, you're not allowed to leave your pit box within one pit stall is all you're allowed to see. So Dale Jr. still a pit stall away. The front tire changer's foot's on the ground. What's very unique about this type of pit stop is the front tire changer. See, look, he's carrying his own tire. Normally there's a tire carrier, but for this pit stop to use 2 tires and 2 cans of gas, they have to use 2 gas men. So that front tire changer, who normally only has to leave pit wall with just an air gun, had to leave with a tire and an air gun. It looked like he tried to get a head start a couple feet too early. His right foot touches the ground. That's a penalty. That's a penalty that years ago probably would never been called, but with the new video system, it's clear. NASCAR makes the call.
Listen into the radio after this penalty took place.
Don't panic. Don't panic. Things will work out. Gotta shake it off, man. Been doing great all day. Take me into the box. Pretty careful. Just on the sliding left side tires. Probably a combination of that. The guy's just being eager, man. It's cool.
And how about that? That is an impressive leader of this team, Dale Earnhardt Jr. behind the wheel.
That's a role that he's taken on, you know, trying to be more of a voice of this team, trying to calm them down, Marty. Sounds like he's in control from behind the wheel, but now he needs to get a little break with a caution.
He's been very calm, and you got to give him credit for trying to be a leader on this 88 team. And that's Scott Brzezowski, the new front tire changer for the 88 team. He came over from the 24 car, and he was brand new at Dover, too. So only a couple of weeks with the 88 team. That timing just not quite there on that stop.
So Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to stay in front of that group, but it will be impossible as they're going at least 10 miles an hour faster than he is by himself. One other car that had an issue, the 55 of David Reagan, was leaking oil, and NASCAR had showed them the black flag telling him he had to come to pit road. They didn't listen to that or adhere to the black flag, so then they were showed the black flag with the white cross, which means we are no longer scoring your car. You have to come to pit road. So the 55 did come to pit road, but this was the 4 and what they had to see him say behind the 55.
It's leaking oil, so you can see it on your windshield and just bump it over. Oh yeah, it's everywhere.
So the 4 was behind the 55, and they were seeing that fluid come out.
And NASCAR has spotters all the way around the racetrack looking also, so the spotters were able to see the oil, see it was coming from the 55. They would not make a call off of one driver saying, hey, somebody's leaking oil. They have to confirm it and make sure.
You're not saying that drivers would be perhaps dishonest.
Oh, and smoke rolling out from behind the 51 of Justin Allgaier. And the caution will come out. That is saving Dale Earnhardt Jr. potentially, as he just went a lap down. He is the highest scored car one lap down, just in front of Martin Truex Jr. Has to be disheartening for Martin Truex Jr. We'll wait to see the official score.
No, I think the 88's still in the lead lap. He was just in front of the field.
Just in front of him? So potentially Martin Truex Jr. could still have that free pass. Dale Earnhardt Jr. was on the lead lap, and the 78 will get the free pass. So huge breaks for the 88 and the 78 team. The first caution of the day comes out. There'll be 56 laps to go. The teams won't be able to make it all the way on one more stop if they come now. The fuel window between 43 and 46 laps.
And I think this is the signal. I think with the caution coming out with 56 to go, I think this is the signal for all the drivers, all the teams. This is when you've got to go. When they drop the green flag after this caution, it is time to go. It's time to get yourself to the front of the pack.
Jimmy Johnson, Kyle Larson, Casey Kane, Joey Logano, Jeff Gordon. Now, since it's not a green flag pit stop, all lead lap cars will come onto pit road at the same time. That means 27 cars will make their way onto pit road. Let's listen into the 20 radio.
Pretty severe vibration. I mean, it's quite a bit worse than other stuff I was complaining about. Just shakes off the right front, it feels like.
The 88, Dale Earnhardt Jr. complained about a vibration at the beginning of this race after his first green flag pit stop.
Closed here. It's not open. Do not pit.
And they're telling us that pit road is still closed. So we'll take a quick break and be back for caution flag pit stops.
Take a look at these barbecue trophies. Best cracked pepper sauce. Most ribs eaten while calf roping.
Yep. Greatness deserves recognition. You got any trophies, cowboy?
Yeah, well, there's this one.
Best insurance mobile app.
Yeah, 2 years in a row.
Well, I'll be. Does that thing just follow you around?
Like a little puppy.
The award-winning Geico app. Download it today.
Hey, Mom.
Mom. Hey, Mom.
What was the difference? Whoa, Mom.
Mom. Go on.
Hey, Dad.
Why don't you ask your mom?
Texas. Oh, right, Mom. No matter who's calling, there's an effortless way to answer. Effortless meals from Coca-Cola and the Walmart Deli. Grab a Market-Side rotisserie chicken meal or a Market-Side pizza, both with a refreshing 2-liter Coke at an everyday low price. Effortless meals. Love the Walmart prices. Smile because it's Coke.
Gentlemen, it's the end of an era. At our last buy one, get 3 free sale ever. Buy one suit or sport coat, get 3 free. This offer will soon be history, so don't miss out. Only at Joseph A. Bank.
Go to listingallcars.com now. Search from over 4 million cars. Use your desktop, tablet, or smartphone. It's fast and friendly with no ads or distractions. Find classics, pre-owned, and new cars all on listingallcars.com.
In the Outback, steak and lobster is back. We're pairing succulent steamed lobster tail or new jumbo lump crab cakes with our signature sirloin for a limited time. Try steak and seafood starting at $14.99. Only at Outback.
Light. Like you have never seen before. The LED Bright Stick from GE.
It was me, James, the author of all your pain. Everything you believed in, a ruin.
I came here to kill you.
And I thought you came here to die.
Well, it's all a matter of perspective.
Spectre, rated PG-13.
And we are back at the Talladega Motor Speedway, working caution here in the late laps. Matt Kenseth has just pitted, took fuel only in a 4.1-second stop, Marty.
Fuel also only for his teammate Kyle Busch, who said the car was very good, balanced good on that run. Kelly?
Harvick in the 4 car said his car was running okay. They took 4 Goodyears last time, so it was fuel only this time around, Dave.
And Kelly, you saw bottom right, Jeff Gordon, right sides only. He gave up 5th to come down pit road, and he gained 1 position. Rick?
And the race off pit road brought to you by Geico. 7 positions made up by Matt Kenseth. And a problem for A.J. Allmendinger. Stopped on pit road. Triple Crown winner American Pharoah looks to cap off a great career. What's expected to be his final race at the richest event, American horse racing, the Breeders' Cup World Championships. Coverage begins Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern on NBCSN, leading up to the Breeders' Cup Classic on Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern on NBC. Lead changes, 22 of them. Presented by Sprint. Stop in at Sprint and cut your rate plan in half. Just bring in your Verizon or AT&T wireless bill and turn in your old phone. 22 lead changes. Right now it's Kurt Busch that's in front of the field as we're under our first and only caution of this race with just 53 laps to go. And the 88 staying on the lead lap. And had this to say about restarts, which are coming up.
Do you feel like if you restart back there, you're going to be able to make it up to the front? I don't know why I would. What the hell's going to stop us?
A lot of confidence coming out of that 88 car. Dale Earnhardt Jr. feeling very good about things. When they pitted this time, guys, they took on 4 tires. Going to be a show watching that 88, who's really been the best car here all day long, to see if he can go from the back to the front.
Staying out to lead a lap and get a valuable championship point was Kurt Busch. They wanted to do it on the second time by, but Ryan Newman had the same idea, and he was in front of Kurt Busch. So they get that point this time. They will change 4 tires and send Kurt back out.
So every position on the track is worth a point, and leading a lap is worth a point. 2 drivers trying to take advantage of getting as many points as they possibly can. Both Ryan Newman and Kurt Busch grabbing a point for leading a lap by staying out on the track before they came to pit road. Just 52 to go. Take a look at how this race started. The 78 had to start in the back because of a qualifying penalty, and then loses the draft and loses a lap.
The 11 car, Denny Hamlin, see his roof hatch come up. They had to come on pit road, make changes, fix the car, so the roof hatch would not come out. NASCAR made them fix it the first time. The second time they came in and elected to fix it themselves.
Then the 88, they had a pit road penalty. The crew member in the front here over pit wall too soon before the 88 got one pit stall away. The 88 had to do a pass through, was on the verge of losing a lap. The caution came out though and saved them, kept them on the lead lap.
Caution came out for Justin Allgaier, and the engine going south on that 51. That put the 88 still on the lead lap. He was able to catch up to the pack, and the 78, who was a lap down, got the free pass, so he also is now on the lead lap. Take a look at the chase grid. Points as they run. Right at the cut line, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., Newman, Kenseth, Earnhardt Jr. outside the top 8. They need to advance. We go NASCAR nonstop. Welcome back to NASCAR Sprint Cup Series racing from Talladega, presented by Quicken Loans. Gorgeous day of racing in Talladega, Alabama. Sunday night is football night. Marco Murray and the 3-3 Eagles head to Charlotte to face Cam Newton and the undefeated Carolina Panthers. Bob Costas and Dan Patrick host Football Night in America coverage beginning at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, only on NBC. Denny Hamlin has had his issues today with the roof hatch, and he's back on pit road, topping off with fuel. Denny Hamlin scored 2 laps down, right along with Austin Dillon. Has that Sunoco onboard camera. The Diet Mountain Dew camera riding along with Dale Earnhardt Jr. stays on the lead lap even after the pit road penalty. Brad Keselowski with the Ford onboard has had an up and down day, currently running 12th. Carl Edwards started this race, fell back out of the pack, was able to stay on the lead lap, now running with that Subway onboard up in the top 10. Kevin Harvick, defending series champion with the Outback Steakhouse onboard camera, running 6th, trying to advance into round 3, as is Jeff Gordon in his final Talladega race. The Chevy in-car camera. Matt Kenseth already frustrated with Joey Logano from a week ago, and that continued today as we're riding along with that Sprint onboard camera. Now Matt Kenseth and Kyle Busch coming up to the NBC Sports restart zone. The red line superimposed on the track, 220 feet, that restart zone. Green flag back in the air. Side for the lead on the restart. '22 of Joey Logano behind the 20, and that inside line begins to fall back. Jeff Gordon, after starting on the pole, running second now behind the 18 of Kyle Busch. After the restart, the chase points on the left of your screen as they run. The 31 of Newman, a point out of the top 8. Now 4 points. That's 4 spots that he has to make up to get into the top 8. Martin Truex Jr., Matt Kenseth, Dale Earnhardt Jr. The other drivers outside the top
8. 48 to go. It's go time now. I think you're going to see a lot of blocking. You're going to see a tremendous amount of side drafting. Track position starting to really matter. We've heard Dale Earnhardt Jr. talk about it all week long. He wants to be in the front at the end of this race, and I think everybody else feels the same way. So it's going to start to get very aggressive.
Right now, Dale Earnhardt Jr. mired back just outside the top 10, running 12th. He's in that outside line. Brad Keselowski in front of him, just in front of Brad, the 15, Clint Bowyer. Now Clint Bowyer getting hung out on that outside line. Jamie McMurray just in front of the 2.
And those are the moves Jeff was just referring to. The one of Jamie McMurray forces a 3-wide situation. Earlier in the race, he would be patient behind the 15. But with only 47 to go, he has to be aggressive, force that 3-wide position.
And it is 3 wide.
See that middle been riding around in the back all day long. Now he's got to go. He's got to run to the front.
Kyle Busch, because he's the leader, being shown in the chase points just behind Joey Logano, who's won 2 races already in the second round. All 11 drivers that haven't won looking to advance into round 3 of the playoffs, and it all happens in the next 46 laps at Talladega. With more on Brad Keselowski, let's go to Kelly.
And he continues to work that outside line, but before that last pit stop, the Miller Lite team not wanting to divulge their strategy. So here's how they communicated between the team.
Blue Moon, then Coors, but whatever you think, bud. We're good on those. They'll go to Ticket City in, no problem. You mean the tires? Gotcha. Okay, sorry.
They're saying, you thinking of Blue Moon? No, I'm thinking of Coors. Well, I guess a Coors means 2 tires. They took right sides only, made an air pressure adjustment for Brad Keselowski, Mike.
And Carl Edwards also another right side only taker on that last round of pit stops. His biggest concern right now is where he's running in relation to the guys he needs to beat. His crew chief Darian Grubb told me this morning something that really impacts the mindset in this race is the fact that it's an elimination race. Throughout the course of the day, Carl's been asking for updates as to where they stand in the points and has been racing accordingly.
Yeah, hang on to that cup of coffee, Carl. Right now, as he gets back down to the straightaway on the backstretch off of the banking, Martin Truex Jr. is back on the lead lap, and his fans are watching that chase points column on the left. When the green flag came out, he was 5 below the cut line. The next lap, he was 5 above. Now it's time to see what Truex's car can do as he makes up points on the other chasers, Marty.
And in that point category, Dave, you see Ryan Newman currently out of the chase. Luke Lambert under the last caution calmly described for him their chase situation. You see Newman has fallen back to the back of the pack once again, currently in the 28th position. But Lambert told him with 30 to go, we must go. But Jeff, that's the tough part. Racing back here with Ryan Newman now is a completely different game than it is up front. It's tough to do that just in the last third of the race, isn't it?
Well, it is hard. It is hard to do. You know, if there is a wreck before he gets there, he's going to look really smart. If he starts to work his way forward and they're 3 wide and there's nowhere to go, then he could find himself in a situation where he couldn't get as high as he needed to go. So he's being very patient. We'll see if he's too patient or not.
And when they go down the backstretch, some of you may be seeing that almost a little bit of smoke or haze that's coming off of the cars as they go down the backstretch. Because the 51 of Justin Allgaier had an engine expire on him, they put down oil Zorb or speed Zorb onto the track to get any fluids that was on the track. They try to blow all of that off, but obviously not all of it's going to come off. So you're seeing a little bit of that as they go down the backstretch. How about the move by Dale Earnhardt Jr. up the middle and now leading that second line? We'll see if anybody jumps out in front of him, as a lot of people think Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to get to the front. They want to go with him.
Dale got what he wanted. There was a tremendous shuffle at the front of the pack. Saw a lot of cars moving around. They really didn't get organized, and all that allowed Jr. to get some momentum ahead to the front.
Now Dale Earnhardt Jr. running in the top 5. But even in the top 5, that's not enough. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is in a situation where he must win. Where he's running now, he's 19 points below the cut line. Take a look at how he got to that position. Went to the inside of the 24 of Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon 17 points above, now 16 points above the cut line.
Saw Dale Jr. make a hard left, trying to get close to the guys next to him to try to slow their momentum down. That's what we're going to start seeing a great deal of as this race winds down. Now it's 3 wide. He's going to be on the outside.
Marty, what's the 88 saying?
Starting to flex a little bit of muscle, that 88 car is, Rick, trying to get back to the front. Hey, when is it a good thing you don't win the Daytona 500? Maybe that's the case for Dale Earnhardt Jr. this year. With this car, he finished 3rd in the Daytona 500. Remember, if you win that race, they put your car in the museum at Daytona. You lose it for the rest of the year. Jr. has since then taken that car to here at Talladega in the spring and won. Daytona in July and won. When I asked him this morning, where does all this confidence come from that you have this weekend when you're out of the chase currently? He said it's from that car. Having that car. I know how good it is. I know what it can do. I've studied it all year long. I know it can get to the front and win this race. Jeff, when you have a car like that, it gives you confidence as a driver that you can come to a place like Talladega and win.
It gives you confidence and allows you to do the things we just saw Junior do. He's not afraid to make a move because he knows his car is fast enough to try to pull the move off. If you have a slow car and you're aggressive the way we see Junior doing right now, you end up working your way to the back. A fast car, you can press the tempo, you can push, you can make things happen.
Guys trying to make things happen as the laps continue to wind down on this final race of round 2. We'll stay NASCAR nonstop.
Daytona, introducing the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship.
A lot of people have helped get me here. My sisters always had my back. My buddies, Sonny and Sean. The crew, pushing me to be faster. Amy, reminding me to enjoy the moment. Fans, of course. And Nationwide, who I've personally been with for 25 years. Never been just me out there. Nationwide is on your side.
This is Pete. Pete is helping his aunt move, so he's not thinking about tires right now. But if he were, all he'd need to know is TireRack.com. Right now, he can get up to an $80 Visa prepaid card when he buys a set of 4 select Goodyear or Dunlop tires. For details, he'd go to TireRack.com/Goodyear offer. But Pete's not thinking about tires. Pete's thinking it would have been nice if his aunt had mentioned the Minor Bird. TireRack.com. Find, deliver, install.
I'm a winner. It's what I do. And now that Yahoo Sports has daily fantasy games, I can win contests, win respect, and win money every single day, which is exactly when I like to win. See? I just won a ticket. Daily contest means I can pick a new roster every day, so I don't have to wait all season long to win big. That's why real winners love Yahoo Sports, because the only thing better than winning is winning all the time. Fantasy just got real. Yahoo Sports Daily Fantasy.
Triple Crown winner American Pharoah seeks horse racing's first ever Grand Slam in what could be his final race ever. The Breeders' Cup, Saturday on NBC. Coverage begins Friday on NBCSN.
You saw it on NASCAR Nonstop. The 88 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. back in front at Talladega. In a situation where he almost has to win, he is back in front. Joey Logano helping him out, getting to the front. Logano already 2 wins in the second round, and the crowd was going crazy when the 88 was able to get back out in front. 36 laps to go. Every position worth a point. Only 1 point separate. Now they're tied in points, the 18 and the 19, as far as transferring into the third round.
There's going to have to be some momentum coming from further back than his first 4 cars, and the reason why Joey's locked in. Keselowski, his teammates behind him, as we see Jeff Gordon make an aggressive move. I thought they would be a little more patient because everybody right now in those top 4 cars, they'd all advance. So I thought they would be patient, but Jeff Gordon made an aggressive move to the outside of Keselowski.
And those 2 Hendrick cars behind the 88, they need to break up that Penske duo. Right now in Dale Jr.'s mirror, he has nose to tail Penske cars. That's going to make it harder to defend. That move by the 24 is just trying to break up those 2 Penske teammates.
Look what Joey Logano is doing, continuing to move back and forth. Let's listen in to the 88 spotter, TJ Majors.
4, coming to you. Here comes your help. And you are clear. Side by side mirror, real tight help on the bottom. 22 is clear. 22 is clear. He's getting his shove right here now. There's 2 by 2 behind him, so that 22 doesn't have much help. Half back, looks like he's lane higher. Half. Pushing you away. He doesn't have any help here. He has no help. He went to the high side to get himself off the 24 there. Slowly coming back to you on the bottom. 1 back. Two by 2 behind him still. He's trying to pull that 2 on the bottom. 24 is outside that 22. Looks like he's almost there. We'll spot him here. Here he comes. 24 is out there. Helping the high side here. 1 back, half. Race to you. Here he is.
We're listening in live to the 88
He is not
radio.
clear. He's got help, though. 24 is getting a big show over here. All the help's going to be on the high side. He might push him by that 22 on the back stretcher. He probably will. 24 is 1 back, half, coming to, he is clear, he's clear, he's in line, he's clear, he is clear as well. The 48's not, 48 is not. Any lane you want to make him run here. There you go, 24 is still clear.
He needs to know if the 24 is clear because that lets Dale know the 24 could change lanes if he has to.
He's also clear by 2.
The other thing that happens, as long as the 22 and the 48 are side by side, without a tremendous amount of push from behind, then the 24 can't really make a move on the 88, because he needs some help from behind.
The other thing you got to remember,
24 is still clear.
They all have to come to pit road again. They don't have enough fuel to go to the end. There will have to be another stop. Kelly.
It was a short transmission from Kevin Harvick, but he said, I think it's blowing up. But they continue just to coach him through. His spotter talking to him. I'll keep you updated if we hear any more from the team.
I think it's blowing up. Not the news Kevin Harvick wanted to be giving to his team. He is 1 point behind the cut line. The defending series champion. Won the last 3 elimination races for the chase. Going all the way back to Phoenix last year.
That quick, Rick, from 1 point out to 7 points out in 1 lap.
It's all going to be determined coming out of turn 4 into the start-finish line. The distance from 4 to the start-finish line, just under 1 mile, over 4,000 feet between turn 4 and the start-finish line, and that's where the drivers that will advance and the drivers that won't advance, that will be the area where it is determined. Three wide, the pack behind the top 3. Dale Earnhardt Jr. maneuvering in front of whichever line has momentum. This time he leaves his teammate to go in front of the 22. Now his teammate has a little momentum.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. and I sat down this weekend and talked about this race, talked about it being Talladega, talked about a track that he felt he could come and win at. But he made it known he wanted the lead with 30 to go. He wanted to control this pack.
Take a listen.
I want to be leading the race with 30 to go. I want to be leading the race at the last pit stop. I want to come out with the lead. I want to control the restarts, however many there are. And so, you're not going to get there late in the race. You're going to have to start at the first lap and work to get, obtain, and keep the lead from the very first lap of the race. And I think that's going to give us our best shot.
And you heard him there. 30 to go, and after the last pit stop, these cars all have to pit again. Dale's done his job. They had some pit road issues. He's recovered. He's got the lead back. Now Greg Ives and this pit crew, they have to put it together for one more trip down to pit road to keep that track position, Marty.
And Steve, how determined was he to get to the front? He started 16th, or restarted 16th on this restart. 11 laps it took Junior to get to the lead and take that lead. 38 laps to go, he took the lead. They're planning on pitting about 7 laps to go in this race. As you mentioned, everyone still needs fuel to make it to the end.
And let's don't forget, guys, we saw Dale Earnhardt Jr. have problems getting on pit road. So if this race goes green and we do pit under green, Dale Jr. cannot afford the mistake that he made before in locking those front tires up, because if he does, they will have to change tires. Everybody else will do fuel only, and he will not have a chance to win this race. So he's got to make sure he gets on pit road well.
11 drivers in the same situation, all wanting to advance into the 3rd round of the playoffs. And now just 29 laps to go. We go NASCAR nonstop.
Before earning enough cash back from Bank of America to take their act to the next level,
before earning 1% cash back everywhere, every time. 2% back at the grocery store. And 3% back on gas. Vince of the Flying Branzinos got a Bank AmeriCard Cash Rewards credit card. Because he may earn his living jumping through hoops, but he'd rather not earn cash back that way. That's the spectacle of rewarding connections. Apply online or at a Bank of America near you.
You're getting 3 here. All right, here goes.
Oh. Cheddar, sour cream and onion, and salt and vinegar.
Wow. How did you do that?
I can see through the blindfold.
Pringles! In the garage or out and about, Wrangler knows the ins and outs of comfort.
With new styles and great fits, you look good for any occasion. And they're built with 4-way flex technology that moves with you for all-day comfort.
Wrangler, real comfortable jeans.
500 degrees, 40 below. And protection for 15,000 miles. Mobil 1, energy lives here.
If you love shrimp like I love shrimp, come to Red Lobster's Endless Shrimp for as much as you want, any way you want it. Sweet, buttery, and creamy. Like new pineapple habanero coconut shrimp bites and teriyaki grilled shrimp. And yeah, it's endless, but it won't last forever.
At DraftKings, we play for glory. And for this, the Giant Check. The Giant Check is no myth. It's our trophy and many hoisted playing our one-week games, like Dave Gomes and Adam Goulet. Are your dreams big enough to cash a Giant Check? Play free in our big event this Sunday. A new fantasy millionaire every week this season. Get to DraftKings.com now and play free with promo code IMPACT. Welcome to the big time.
Proud of you, son. GE, manufacturer. Well, that's why I dug this out for you. It's your grandpappy's hammer, and he would have wanted you to have it.
It meant a lot to him. Yes, GE makes powerful machines, but I'll be writing the code that will allow those machines to share information with each other. I'll be changing the way the world...
You can't pick it up, can you? Go ahead. He can't lift the hammer.
It's okay, though. You're going to change the world.
We are Wednesday night. We are the Stone Cold in the City of Steel. We are the Monumental in the nation's capital. We are the night you love to hate. Wednesday night rivalry. Penguins, Capitals on NBCSN.
After the checkered flag, almost 2 hours of post-race coverage coming from NASCAR America as well as NASCAR Victory Lap. Chris Devoda, Kyle Petty, Dale Jarrett, Dave Briggs, Brian Vickers, Parker Kligerman, all breaking down all of the craziness that's already happened at Talladega, and we still have 25 laps to go. And folks, that was the last green flag commercial break that you will see. 25 to go. Dale Earnhardt Jr. still in front. Interesting, Joey Logano working very hard, running second, and he's got his teammate leading that outside line. Dave Briggs.
And Rick, there are so many things he can do right now to affect this race. Even though he's already got a berth into the third round locked up, Joey Logano wants to win, first of all. But if he can help that white car on the outside, that's his teammate, Brad Keselowski. He's in position to do that. And if he can break up the Hendrick 3 or 4 cars up front, he can do that as well. So Joey Logano's got a lot of reasons, even though he's already through, to run up front here at the end.
Joey Logano running second on that inside line. His teammate on the outside, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. just in front of him.
And it's not just helping his teammate. What about the 88? Does Joey Logano want to move the 88 through? If you look at the points, if the 88 wins, it eliminates Kyle Busch, perhaps another competitor. There's a lot of strategy into this chase. Who do you want to race against? Who do you not? Without a doubt, the 22 wants to help the 2, but at some point, he's going to have to decide, is he willing to help the 88?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. continuing to work to stay in front of both lines. He's done a masterful job already of figuring out which one has the momentum with the help of TJ Majors, his spotter. Dale Earnhardt Jr. continuing the lead. He's led 57 laps of the 165 that we've completed. The final 23 laps to determine who's going to advance into round 3. Kelly.
Brad Keselowski has been leading that line of cars around the top side. When he started this race, he had 2 teammates out there to help him, Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney now back in the garage, which leaves Logano, and Brad's been asking for help from Jamie McMurray behind him, but he's having trouble keeping up because Paul Menard behind him is having trouble staying up with the 1, so it's a chain effect right now. He's right behind Dale Jr. Dave?
Remember, Jeff Gordon had the fastest car in qualifying, and all day long, spotter Eddie DeHaan has been reading him this race like a long novel, quiet and calm, telling him about every car around him, in front of him, behind him, what they're doing, who they are. And Jeff has all that information going to the checkers now, trying to put the 24 as far forward as he can, Mike.
Talking to Matt Kenseth's crew chief Jason Ratcliffe this morning about what transpired a week ago in Kansas, I asked him, what did you tell your team this week? He said, I didn't tell them anything, but let's find a way to win Talladega. They know they need to win, but they are running out of time. Matt's been looking for a little bit of help, and Carl Edwards has been trying to get there, but they are running out of laps. Marty?
Mike, you want to see something entertaining? Watch that left-hand side of your screen. That's the chase points as they run right now, and watch that 18 car. A moment ago, he was leading. He was in. Now he's out. There have been moments where he's been tied for that final spot. Kyle Busch told me earlier today, we don't have to win, but we need a top 5 or a top 10 if we're going to make it to the next round, trying to get that 18 car back to the front, and they're going to pit in about 3 laps, guys. Remember, those pit stops could play a critical role as to who advances and who doesn't.
And we've seen this before, Jeff. The 88, what's he do? Drags him to the top, tries to give him single file, force this field to a single file pack.
That's in his best interest. If he can run single file, the run, he can see the run coming. If they're 3 wide behind him, he can't block every lane. So if he can drag everybody to the top and make this work, it's a huge advantage to him. We saw him try to do it earlier, and it got broken up by 7 or 8 cars that decided to run the bottom. But his car is so fast that when he goes to the top, people tend to go with him. The great question, though, if we get that call, if we do not get a caution, you're going to have to pit under green. What happens? What pit crew is going to step up? What driver is going to make a mistake getting on pit road? We've already seen it. We've seen it damage getting on pit road. We've seen this year in the chase, we've seen crew members make mistakes. Will that happen again today?
And this will be a gas-only stop, Rick, so these cars will not be putting tires on. The 88, we saw how easily he locked up both front tires, perhaps hurt the driveline, said he wheel hop. There's still a lot of opportunity to make mistakes. You don't want to have green flag pit stops that close to the finish at a restrictor plate race.
The other thing, the other impact of this single file up against the wall is that if a line doesn't form, if you can't make the bottom go, then you think about Kyle Busch, who is right now 5 points out. If he can't get a line to go with him, it doesn't matter how many spots he needs to gain. He won't be able to make them if it goes single file. So that not only impacts Dale Jr., who's trying to force the issue, that affects everybody behind him.
19 to go, 19 on pit road. Mike?
And it looks like fuel only. A very quick stop for Edwards. He's off the Jackson away.
Kenseth also fuel only. Teammates coming off of pit road together.
I like the idea of pitting early. I'm a little concerned there's only 2 of them, especially with the pack so single file. It'll be interesting to see as these all shake through where they end up.
We've heard from different teams mentioning they were going to come to pit road with less than 10 laps to go, and now race leader Dale Earnhardt Jr. smoking the tires as he comes to the start-finish line.
They're going to have to put tires on.
Pit road, they're going to have to put tires on if they smoke the tires that much. Marty?
And that's the 3rd time we've seen that from Dale Earnhardt Jr. It was planned to be a fuel-only stop, but they had tires on the wall in case that happened. As soon as Greg Ives saw that, he said right sides, fuel for Jr. as well. They wanted to make sure that he took care of the brakes. Jr.'s going to leave pit road with those 2 fresh Goodyears, Dave.
Alan Gustafson said about 2.5 seconds worth of fuel, and then you go on my command. There it is. Jeff is gone.
And you see right here the 88 as he leaves pit road, the whole pack leaves pit road. Well, the 88 was the leader onto pit road, but he leaves 4th in line. That's from sliding the tire. That's from forcing his team to change right side tires. In front of him is the 2, the 22, the 1, the cars he had worked so hard to get in front of. That mistake coming to pit road cost him time on pit road.
Now another pack making their way onto pit road as everyone will be getting back up to speed. All the teams making their final pit stops. Marty?
Hey guys, for Ryan Newman, the guy who's pitted earlier than everybody else all day long, will pit last here, fuel only for that 31 car who needs to work his way and gain some spots, Dave.
So important for the fueler to engage the fuel can to the car, done quickly on the 78, pulled back out with just enough fuel to get to the end.
Coming through the tri-oval. as these cars are making their way back out on the track. It was David Gilliland that was scored as the race leader the last time by. Gilliland bringing his car to pit road, as is Michael Waltrip in the 98. Greg Biffle scored as the race leader.
And you see right here the leader, Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski. But how about the 20 of Matt Kenseth? Chose to come real early, Jeff. Gained a ton of track position, actually in front of the 88 of Dale Jr.
You're a little nervous about him coming early because he didn't have drafting help when they left. But what he was able to do is by himself, getting on pit road with less cars. He was able to get on pit road much, much cleaner. Also the 31. The 31 gained a lot of spots during this sequence. 31 and the 78 also. And remember, all these guys, Matt Kenseth most likely has to win this race, so he needs that track position. This pit sequence, put the 31. They're now 6 points to the good. They've been below the cut line all day long.
16 and now 15 laps to go. Greg Biffle still needs to come to pit road. He scored as the race leader. Joey Logano in front of the pack. His teammate behind him.
Look at Dale Jr. already moving up a lane to try to get by the 17. Gets right to the back of the 42. He knows with 15 to go, he can't wait. He needs to start getting positions now.
And if he goes single file, now Dale Jr. wanted a single file when he was leading. He doesn't want a single file now. He needs double wide race in order to make those moves to go single file. And he only has 1 or 2 cars behind him. It'll be very, very difficult. Also, if you look at Kyle Busch, he lost the draft. He's not in this front pack. He does not want to see it go single file either. He needs it bunched up to be able to catch back up.
Couple cars dropping down at the bottom of the track. Biffle still scored as the race leader as he's not come to pit road yet. But the pack being led by Joey Logano. And they are running up against the wall. Joey Logano trying to employ the strategy that Dale Earnhardt Jr. used earlier, getting everyone to run up high.
And Rick, it all came down to pit stops. The 88 had to change tires. He locked them up. The 2 Penske cars, great work on and off pit road. They hold their positions at the front of this field.
And so listen, what's going to make this top work, what's going to drag people to the bottom, what's going to drag people to the bottom is Dale Jr. needs to win this race. So when he moves, people know he has a fast car. When he makes that move, you can almost guarantee his teammate behind him is going to go with him. Carl Everett's going to go with him. Clint Boyer, who's behind him, is going to go with him. All these guys need good finishes. So pull it. That's the incentive. Why should I go with somebody? The incentive is they have a fast car and it'll take you to the front.
The question is, what lap will they try to make that move? With 13 laps to go, the time winding down, and the possibility of making it into round 3.
And look who's right up in front of Dale Earnhardt Jr., but the 31 of Ryan Newman. We heard about his strategy right in the back. We heard Luke Lambert say 30 to go. They need to be aggressive. He's done it. Right behind him, the 78 has recovered from being a lap down. Both guys have recovered up into the top 6.
Earnhardt Jr. still running 9th, Marty.
TJ Majors guided him towards that 24 car so he could find someone to push him, but he's continually telling him who's behind him. To your point, Jeff, that helps Dale Earnhardt Jr. know if he pulls down, who might go with him and who might be able to push him to the front. But that move needs to happen fairly soon, doesn't it?
Yeah, for Dale Jr., that is everything that matters. It doesn't matter who's in front of you. It matters who's behind you. Are their cars fast enough to push you? Are their cars fast enough to help you? It doesn't matter what's in front. You have to have the help from behind. And I think he has it. I think there's enough incentive for all these people behind him. When he makes that move, I think those people will go with him. I think what he'll do, he'll wait for that gap like we just saw. I thought that was an opportunity. If the 42 gets in front of the 88 by 4 or 5 car lengths, as the 88's catching the 42, that's when he'll turn left because he'll have that momentum of that draft, and that's when he can make up space.
Well, an advantage the 88 has as well is Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch currently 9 points out. Well, if you look at this long line of cars, who's last? The 18. Well, now the 5 has it. You see the 18 go to the bottom. He cannot ride there. He can risk losing every position because where he is not good enough. And that's all it's going to take, the 88. You see the 20. He knows he has to go for the win. He's looking at the bottom, going to the top. It wasn't quite time yet.
Teammates potentially working together. Matt Kenseth at the bottom of the list on the left.
Yeah, I think
Chase points as they run.
I think the problem with 18, here we go, there's Junior making the move.
And they saw Matt Kenseth down there. He knows Matt's in that position, but Dale doesn't want to risk it. He thinks the 20's not going to have room to get back in line.
How can he get room? Yeah, he got back in line, so he's safe. He made a move. It did not cost him.
His teammate, Carl Edwards, let him in. You talk about when can teammates help. Well, here you go. 88's looking inside the 42. There's going to have to be that moment with 10 to go. When is the right time to go? You have to remember the 20, the 88, nothing to lose. That's why they're the two driving the bottom line.
And even when the 88 makes the move, who's going to see the momentum coming and then pull in front of the 88 and attempt to win the race for themselves? Listen, that's the goal. You see that line coming on the bottom. Now, who's going to get in front of the 88? Who's going to take that chance? Or if Kenseth doesn't go with him, what happens?
And what side draft work by the 88 to make this pass complete? The 31, he thinks it's time. They're going to organize a bottom line.
And remember, as all of this is going on in the pack, we can't forget about the fact that Greg Biffle is still scored as the race leader. He has stayed on the track. He last was on pit road at lap 138. We're guessing that he has to come back to pit road for fuel, but could he be employing a strategy of trying to steal a win here with Greg Biffle on the track still?
But Ryan Newman made a move and nobody went with him. Let's see if he falls back a great deal. He still has Matt Kenseth, Carl Edwards behind him. Will they pick him up? Here's Junior on the bottom trying to make something happen. Made a look. He looked. The one didn't go with him, so he got back in line.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. moved up to 4th in line in this pack. He's being scored 5th. Again, Greg Biffle, who is just in front of this pack, is still scored as the race leader with 9 laps to go.
And Rick has done this before. 2003 Daytona, Greg Biffle won that race on fuel mileage. He has a 38-second lead. He can run reasonably part throttle at times if he has to.
He has help, too. There's another car that's with him. So Greg Biffle, again, scored as the race leader. Joey Logano in front of the big pack, though. There's the 16, the Cheez-It of Greg Biffle. When he comes by this time, just 9 laps to go. And again, Biffle is the race leader. Will they try to steal a win? Logano still in front, now choosing the different line. He sees the 88 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. looking low.
This group can't worry about Greg Biffle. They just have to worry about being in front of this line. If Greg Biffle makes it, that's fine. But the 88 has no choice as Kyle Larson takes the 88 3 wide.
Can a car go 50 laps? That's the big question right now, is what Greg Biffle's trying to do.
For the year they've had, what's the risk? If he runs out of gas, this is what they need. Wins fix a lot of things in the shop, in the company. It builds momentum. What's the risk of running out of gas for the 16 car?
42 laps since he was on pit road last.
We're thinking these cars have been able to go between 43 and 45 laps. We haven't really seen them try to stretch it all day. Everybody's been short pinning. No one has shown their hand. That's what Greg Biffle's doing right here. He's going to show the field how far he thinks he can go.
And if Greg Biffle tries to win this race on fuel mileage, that puts a lot of different drivers in a bad position as you look at the chase. Dale Earnhardt Jr. would be out. He's 12 points below the cut line. Denny Hamlin would be out. Ryan Newman would be out. Matt Kenseth would be out as they continue to battle in the pack.
And we saw Ryan Newman try to make that move on the bottom. That ended up not working out for him. He is now 6 points out of being in that cutoff spot. So that move to the bottom was not a good move for Ryan.
Greg Biffle through the tri-oval. It will be just 6 laps to go for Greg Biffle, the race leader. The pack still working with Logano in front of it.
Joey Logano's got to block. He's got to go everywhere he can go. He cannot let one of these cars get next to him. Once they get next to him, it's game on. He's got to block the bottom, the top. He's got to go anywhere he can go to keep him behind him. If the car ever gets even close to your quarter panel to the side, it pulls you back so much, it slows you down. Don't ever let a car even think about getting next to you, if at all possible.
Joey Logano in front of the pack. Dale Earnhardt Jr. doing everything he can to try to get Joey Logano to make a mistake. Brad Keselowski leading the outside line. Logano moving back and forth between the 2 lines.
And as intense as this battle is in this pack, a reminder, Greg Biffle is the race leader trying to stretch fuel. If he makes it with 5 laps to go, it doesn't matter.
Smoking coming out of the 1 of Jamie McMurray. McMurray with smoke under the hood. And the caution comes out. Under 5 laps to go, the engine expires for Jamie McMurray. The caution will come out. Remember, 1 attempt at a green-white checker finish.
No, I don't have any power steering.
with only 5 laps to go and having potential fluid on the racetrack, it looks like they would get to that green-white checker finish. We're just going to have to see how quick the cleanup can be. What a nice break for these two. Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, especially Dale Jr., because with the 16 out there was a chance he was going to steal this one away. Now they're going to get the restart right on his bumper.
That's right, but he will still be scored the leader if he wants to stay out there. And does this help him as far as fuel months? Because now he's going to continue to click laps off. If they don't go past the
advertised distance.
Yeah, the advertised distance. If they don't go past that, potentially he'll have enough fuel to make it all the way.
Absolutely. And look, they're committed. I love the call the 16 has made. We talk about the chase. We talk about opportunity. We talk about the playoffs. This is their year as well, though. A win could make that. But how does that affect the chase? This is a different sport, remember. Everyone is on the field at the same time. Just because they missed the playoffs, they're not eliminated. Greg Biffle stealing this win. He's going to be up in the mix. What's interesting, a fellow Ford. Where does this Ford stack up in helping Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski?
I think, again, you said it exactly right. Roush Fenway, they've been making gains. They've been making slow gains. Why not roll the dice, try to get a win, try to make something good happen? But that's implications for everyone else. They're doing what they need to do for that team. How does that affect everyone? Again, Earnhardt Jr. most likely needs to win this race. Matt Kenseth needs to win this race. Finishing second, finishing third is probably not going to be enough unless it's a big wreck and takes a lot of people out. So they need to win, not finish top 5.
Only the second caution of the day. The one of Jamie McMurray up in the second line. And you'll see the smoke starting to roll out from behind him.
And what a good job by everybody, not to have a wreck right there. You see Ricky Stenhouse is on his rear bumper. I mean, everybody did a really good job. To have a car slow down that abruptly in front of the pack and not to have a wreck, that's amazing.
Denny Hamlin running down on the apron.
And what a position Denny Hamlin's in, currently 1 point below the line. The first car 2 laps down. There's very little he can do to try to gain any positions. He needs at this point help. He needs help from someone else within the chase to make a mistake, to lose positions. He has not come and executed like the 11 team needed. They've put themselves in a position to depend on other people to decide whether they move forward or not in the chase.
Think about this. The start of round 3 is at Martinsville. We go from the biggest track to the smallest track. That's next Sunday. Presented by Castrol GTX Magnatech. All right, guys, you go from this big track to a small track, but the implications of not even getting there as far as the chasers go, so big right now with just a couple laps to go.
The only one thinking about Martinsville at any time right now is Joey Logano. Everybody else, they have to execute. There's going to be a short run to the end. We have seen so many times what happens when there's short runs. Almost every time we see a wreck, you're going to have to make moves. You're going to have to get exceptionally aggressive. They're getting ready to throw the checker. Where you finish matters. So, this is the most nervous the drivers get at Daytona and Talladega. A late race caution. It's inevitable. You almost know it's going to happen. So all these drivers are exceptionally nervous right now.
How nervous would you be if Greg Biffle chooses the line that you're in? Because what's the possibility that Greg Biffle runs out of gas? He could run out of gas on this late restart and then slow everybody down in that line.
Absolutely. There's the risk of the 16 running out of gas. There's so many risks. It's not just Dale Earnhardt Jr. Can you win in advance? Brad Keselowski, Jeff Gordon, Carl Edwards, Martin Truex, Harvick. No one is safe yet. With 29 cars in the lead lap, if Jeff Gordon has an issue from 5th, he's going to lose 24 spots. He's only 17 points to the good. He's eliminated. This chase field will be determined through the trial coming to the start-finish line. We saw it last year with Casey Kane, 4 points in the last couple thousand feet. That can happen again today.
It's less than a mile from turn 4 through the trial to the start-finish line. That's where the 8 drivers that will advance, that's where it's going to be determined.
Listen, your point about Greg Biffle is it's a really good point. If they choose not to pit here, which they most likely won't, if he picks the inside, that puts Junior behind him. If he picks the outside, then that would put Logano behind him. So, I'm sorry, they pick Keselowski behind him. So, it's his pick. Where he decides to go is going to greatly influence who ultimately wins this race.
Yeah, because if he starts on the inside, he lines up the 2 Penske cars together.
Right. And look at this. Right now, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch tied at the cut line. The advantage, the determining factor of who moves on, the best finish position in this round between Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch.
And one thing that's really important as we drop the green flag on this restart, many times it's better to restart 23rd, 24th than it is 12th, because many times the momentum gets moving and you can make a move from 24th and 12th. You're kind of blocked in. There's nowhere to go. So I know that sounds odd. If you think about Ryan Newman, who's restarting where he is, that may ultimately help him because the momentum's going forward versus stalling out.
Dave?
Jeff Gordon has done all the right things this afternoon. His crew chief Alan Gustafson looks on. What's on your mind as we get ready to do this green-white checker?
The biggest thing's the 16 and just how much fuel he's got. And, you know, the difficult thing is there's so much banking. If he doesn't get gas in that pickup, it can be all over right here at the start-finish line for him. So I think besides that, we can take care of ourselves if we don't get any negative influences, you know, from that 16. The car's been good. The guys have been great. 3M Chevy's been solid all day long. We just got to go execute, and hopefully, you know, the cars that have run up front all day can fight for the win here.
Jeff is 5th as we head to the restart. Kelly?
Paul Wolfe sits atop the box for the two of Brad Keselowski. You guys are in good position to advance based on points. How aggressive do you want him to get on the screen right checkered?
I mean, obviously we want to win the race, but we're looking at the bigger picture, and that's advancing to the next round. So he's done a good job with the Miller Lite Ford, keeping it up front all day there. And, you know, as long as we can stay smart here at the end, I think we can get where we need to be and advance to the next round.
All right, they'll have a teammate up there, Joey Logano, who could potentially help him out.
Steve, you made a great point just now. You said, listening to those two interviews, that sounds great for them, but it also sounds great for a guy who's going to be very aggressive.
Absolutely. The big picture, while I agree with Paul Wolfe, that's absolutely what the two should be worried about. The 24 absolutely should be worried about the big picture. Both 19 points ahead of the cut line. But what does that mean? If I'm listening to those interviews and I'm Greg Ives, I'm telling Dale Jr., look, they're worried about the big picture. Be aggressive. Force the issue. Make moves that they don't dare block. Be the aggressor. Really, you have to go out there and try to win this. They know that. They have really more to lose than you do because they're, at this point, pretty reasonably in with points.
As they run the chase points, as we get ready for the one and only attempt at a green-white checker finish, 31 points out of the top 8 is the 20 of Matt Kenseth. The 11 of Denny Hamlin comes onto pit road, and what a day it's been for Denny Hamlin. The roof hatch, something that they're able to do at super speedways, put a roof hatch so the driver can get out if they need to through that hatch. It came loose. They had to come to pit road. They tried to secure it. The first time they tried, it didn't work out so well, but they have definitely secured it now.
The issue at Denny Hamlin's situation right now is he is 2 laps down. There's 2 other teams that are 2 laps down, David Reagan and Landon Castle. So right now, he's shown 1 point to the good as far as being in, making the cut, but a lot's going to happen in these next few laps. So he has to make sure those 2 guys that he's racing, that he does finish in front of those 2. That's his race. He's not racing for the win. He's not racing even to be in the lead lap. He is racing to be the first car 2 laps down, because that could potentially be 2 points.
The other driver who's had an eventful day is the 88 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Although he's led 61 laps of this race, it hasn't been easy. First pit stop, he comes in, and smoke rolling out from the front tires.
And you can hear Will Hobbs, he comes in the second time, smoke the front tires again. So 2 times in a row under green flag stops, having a tough time getting on pit road.
And then after those 2 struggles to get to pit road, when he does get to pit road, crew member over the pit wall too early, has to come through a pass-through, was able to save his lap, but definitely put the 88 behind.
And then once again, coming on pit road again, got the right front smoking, and had to change, put 2 tires on.
He was back in traffic, but if you want any driver behind the wheel, it would be Dale Earnhardt Jr. when you come to Talladega. He has been impressive. He worked his way all the way up into the top 3. He was battling with Joey Logano. Logano just behind Greg Biffle. Marty.
Let's check in with Adam Stevens, crew chief for Kyle Busch. You just kind of laid everything out for Kyle. What does he need to do and get himself into round 3 here?
Well,
I know what he needs to do right now, but I don't think the finishing order is going to resemble this restart order. So, we've done all we could do all day long, and it's kind of in the driver's hands now and in God's hands. Sitting up here on the box, you feel kind of powerless, but we're done pitting, and it's green, white checker time, and, man, I'll be surprised if they finish with the checkered flag.
I know it's a nervous feeling up, but how are the nerves right now?
Well, there's nothing more I can do. There's nothing more we can do. So we're spectators. I'm glued to the screens and glued to the track here to keep my eyes on what's going on, but powerless.
A moment ago, he looked up at the scoring monitor and just took a deep breath, trying to get some relaxation in. Kyle Busch needs to gain a few spots if he's going to make it to the next round, Rick.
That's the absolute worst seat in the house, too, Rick. To be a crew chief at Talladega, you're done pitting. It comes down to these just crazy green-white checkers, and there's very little to nothing you can do to help your driver.
The only thing he can be doing right now is communicating to Kyle exactly what their situation is, how many points they need, how many positions they need. Ultimately, right now, that's all he can do is be giving information to Kyle.
We will have one attempt at a green-white checker finish. That is new. NASCAR made that announcement at the beginning of the week, letting drivers, teams know one attempt at a green-white checker. It was for safety purposes. And now, the more we go around, the more the track cleanup continues to take lap upon lap, you have to wonder, how much fuel does Greg Biffle have staying out? We've already gone the distance that was advertised, 188 laps. We continue to add laps to that because we know we will have a green-white checker. And the strategy, look at the 16 coming to pit road. The 16 will give up the lead and come to pit road. Now, Logano and Earnhardt Jr. will make up the first row on the restart. Huge change for Greg Biffle in that 16 team.
So now Logano, what does Logano do? Which line does he pick? If he picks the bottom, that puts Keselowski behind him. But guess what? That puts Junior on the outside with his teammate Gordon pushing him from behind. So which two teammates will be able to work best together?
It's going to be interesting. Joey Logano decides to split up the teammates. He's going to take Jeff Gordon, force Dale Jr. to the bottom to take Brad Keselowski. What does Brad do? Remember, while he's 19 points to the head, he can't lift, he can't pull out a line. He's going to have no choice but to push the 88.
So now the art of the restart. This is vital. The leader, Joey Logano, he does not want to get a good restart. He wants to drag his brake a little bit. He wants to get the 24 Jeff Gordon pushing him. Remember, Joey Logano controls this race. He controls the start. Do not let a gap get built between you and Jeff Gordon. Get his front bumper to your rear bumper, drag the brakes, restart slowly. Stay hooked together to get a restart so that when you come off turn 2, you have the lead.
But how hard does the two of Brad Keselowski really want to push Dale Earnhardt Jr. to get up to speed? Because if Dale Earnhardt Jr. wins, there's another competitor that might be eliminated if he doesn't push him to the front.
But only a 19-point cushion. You play too many games, he hangs back. What if the 27 hooks the bumper of the 2 and spins him out of the way? Games are going to be very difficult to be played here. I think the 2 has to do all he can to try to win, Dave.
Joey Spotter, Tab Boyd told him, the 2 is telling us, don't do anything on our account. Do what you need to do. We'll take care of ourselves.
I like that. Well, yes.
That's how it has to be.
That's how it has to be. The only way teammates work is if it works like that, Jeff.
Yeah, the problem is teammates tend to expect too much from each other at times. You have to run your race. If you can help your teammate without hurting you, that's what you do. But you only do it if it doesn't hurt you. Anything else, everybody just gets disappointed. Kelly.
Remember, we heard Kevin Harvick. He thought he was blowing up earlier, and then he continued to say it just wasn't right. Now, moments ago, he said it just won't go. This is as fast as I can go. I'll stay high to stay out of the way. So the drama continues with huge implications for the defending champion, Kevin Harvick.
That is huge for Kevin Harvick, who right now is only 11 points in front of the cut line. Pace cars off. One attempt at a green-white checker finish. Joey Logano, race leader. Dale Earnhardt Jr. second. Coming into the NBC Sports restart zone. Spins his tires. Green flag back in the air. Around goes to 48. And the caution is out. That will now determine who wins this race. They're saying that's not an attempt. NASCAR's saying not an attempt. On the restart, the 48 around, they're saying, NASCAR's saying it never went green as they were spinning They hadn't actually gone green yet, so that was not an attempt. It's what we're hearing from NASCAR. Take another look.
As they enter the zone, the 22 Logano has trouble getting going, and then everybody behind him just stacked up.
There you see it, and the caution flag waves before they reach the start-finish line. Therefore, the race was never put under green flag condition. So this was not their first attempt.
So look at Jimmy Johnson trying to push Paul Menard. Paul Menard trying to push the 2 Keselowski. Here we come to the restart zone on the bottom of the racetrack. Everybody's starting to bunch up. Everybody wants to push each other. The 78 ended up pushing the 48 so hard he pushes him around, gets him spun out.
And the 4 had already moved to the outside line because he couldn't get up to speed. Can you imagine? And you see the damage to the back of the 42. Kyle Larson.
We talked about this. The restart zone is longer than it's ever been. The 22 decided to go at the second line. Absolutely his prerogative. He's looking for any advantage he can get. But as that momentum, as that energy kind of just gained through the field, it finally got to a point where the chain reaction, somebody got rear tires got lifted off the ground. The 48 spun out. Jeff, you talked about this when this zone got larger.
The larger the zone is, the less it is harder for the teams in the back, the drivers in the back. And the reason why is because the large restart zone gives the leader an opportunity to go in so many different places. So as you try to anticipate the restart, it's much, much harder to anticipate it. So we saw Martin Truex actually pushing the 48. He thought the leaders were going to be going, but they had not left yet.
NASCAR's explanation, they had not reached the start-finish line. They hadn't got to the start-finish line before they threw the caution. That was not the one attempt at the green-white checker. Let's listen in to Joey Logano's radio.
You gotta be freaking kidding me. That's an attempt. The green flag waved. The green flag's out. That's an attempt. Come on.
And of course, Joey Logano wants that to be the case because he was in front. Take another look. The green light is on. And look at the flag man. The green and then right to the yellow before they got to the start-finish line.
So I think Joey Logano was right that the green flag was waving, but NASCAR never said that the leaders never got across the start-finish line, so the green flag or the track was never put back in a green flag condition.
So we'll try again. Joey Logano, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
This is going to sound silly because the leaders were on pit road at lap 170, but remember, the last time the leaders were on pit road, it was a lot of gas onlys. As a crew chief, knowing there was only one attempt at a green-white checker, you perhaps didn't put an overabundance of fuel in the car. So as you ride around here, you got to stay in the moment. Continue to coach your driver. Save fuel. Make sure you have fuel in the pickup. Even if there's fuel in the car, as long as these corners are at a slow pace, an air pocket will get in the fuel line. When you go to ask full power from your engine, really have a demand on the fuel, that stumble can be all it needs to really hurt your restart.
And listen, back in the middle of the pack, we saw Kevin Harvick. He said he can't go. He's having trouble. What impact does that have? He is not going to go to the back of the pack. He is not going to say, you know what, all you guys go. The reason why, right now, he is in a point battle. He has to have the best finish possible. So his best case scenario is to get a couple quick cautions so he doesn't lose all those spots. He's not going to just fall to the back. He can't afford to do that. He probably would under most situations, but right now he just has to stay there and hope he doesn't get run over.
Kevin Harvick scored 10th. And right now, Kevin Harvick 13 points above the cut line. 3 points for Kyle Busch. 3 points back is Denny Hamlin. Kyle Busch was out. Take a look at how he gained the spots to be in. Harvick, Johnson, and Larson. 3 cars he was able to get by. And now that means 3 points, which he is 3 points ahead of Denny Hamlin. Joey Logano, Dale Earnhardt Jr. scored first and second. Logano the last time shows the outside line. Jeff Gordon will be on the high line in row 2. Here's what they had to say on the radio.
22, if he does that again, he needs to not wait for me to hit him. I'm waiting for him to go and trying to anticipate it. And I ran in the back of him big time.
So we saw the 22 of Joey Logano. Logano had spun his tires on that restart. But as he was spinning his tires, the mayhem was taking place behind him, and they never got to the start-finish line before they threw the caution once again. So the race never went officially green, and that's why NASCAR is saying we will have one attempt at a green-white checker, and that was not it.
So basically NASCAR is saying because the green flag was waving, that signified that the drivers could start to accelerate out of the restart zone. But you're not even allowed to change lanes until the start-finish line, because that is when you are racing again. That is when the track is back to a green flag raceable condition. Because the caution was thrown before the leaders got to the start-finish line, that attempt never occurred. They never had the opportunity to pass. They never had the opportunity to change lanes.
But that sets the example of why it's so important to be leading this last lap. This last lap may not come back to the checkered. So you want to be leading, because if the caution does come out, that will be the winner. So it makes it exceptionally important for Joey Logano, Dale Earnhardt Jr. The starts they get to determine if they win this race and whether Dale Jr. advances into the championship round or not.
There's been some inspirational words come out of the 88 car already. Let's listen in again.
Make sure tires are cleaned up well. Make sure the pickup's nice and full. We got plenty of gas. Good clean restart.
I like it. That's the only thing a crew chief can do. Greg Ives giving them explicit instructions. We don't have to talk about the moment. We all know how important this moment is. What I need you to do are these two simple things. Clean your rear tires up. Make sure the pickup is full. What he means by that, bring a little RPM to the car. Fill the fuel line up. You see Dale Jr. weaving his tires back and forth. At this point, it's up to spotter and driver.
As we saw Joey Logano, we saw how he all but spun the car out trying to get up through the gears on the last restart.
Here we go. 2 laps to determine who will win the race and who will advance into round 3 in the chase. Coming back into the FAC Sports restart zone. 220 feet. Green flag back in the air. The 4 not going. They wreck behind him. The green flag is out as they cross the start-finish line. Will they throw the caution? Trying to get back up to speed. Caution comes out. Now the question is, who was in front?
Stay in front of them. Stay in front of them.
You heard him say stay in front of them. NASCAR will go back and watch video. They will look at the scoring loops to determine the finishing order.
And they threw the caution because cars made contact. They had heavy contact. They had to get safety to the drivers. That's why they threw the caution. NASCAR wants these races to end under green, but when you have drivers making heavy contact, they're gonna throw the caution to roll safety to them.
That was officially an attempt at the green-white checker. 1 try. You see Denny Hamlin not happy at all. Torn ACL in his right leg as he climbs out of the 11. Joey Logano comes to the white and yellow flag.
He came out. I was in the lead. I saw it. 10-4. 10-4.
And Jeff, your explanation was perfect. NASCAR, it's right here in front of them. We're right above NASCAR in the booth. The crash is right in front of us as well. They want to make this race finish under green. They have to wait and see how much damage, whether cars couldn't roll off. And you saw cars on the apron. The 11 was on fire. You saw him get out. They had no choice but to put the caution out.
And what about Kevin Harvick with an engine that's blowing up? Without this green, without this situation, he may not get in, but this may allow him to get in. He's riding around here, barely making it around the racetrack with an engine that won't run. If they would have stayed green, the cars would have come around to the start-finish line. There's 3 cars sitting on the racetrack. They could not stay green. They had to throw the caution.
NASCAR is going to continue to sort this out. Nothing is official. We will give you the results of who the 8 drivers are that advance as soon as it's made official from NASCAR. Again, what they will use is video of where the cars were when the caution came out, as well as the scoring loops to make sure that everyone gets scored in the right position.
So let's be clear. During the race, all race long, there are scoring loops all the way around the racetrack. To expedite the race, to run it officially, they use those loops to line the cars up. But for the official finishing order of the race, NASCAR goes to video because there's a gap in time between these loops. They want to take it to every frame by frame to give everyone the opportunity for every point available. So it takes time. They're going to have to find the video and everyone in that video at the same time stamp to determine the finishing order and who was in the caution and who was not.
And this is a big call right here because huge. Listen, this is Junior either making it or not making it, but it's also most likely Kevin Harvick making it or not making it, as well as Ryan Newman. So who ends up, you know, as they look at the video, this is more than just about who won the race. This is about who is going to transfer into the next round.
And NASCAR explained it to us earlier today. Drivers have to maintain this cautious pace all the way to the checkered flag, which these cars have been able to do. Some haven't. The 11 of Denny Hamlin was not able to continue on. A driver that might not be in the top 8. Now we want to look back at the restart and the crash. Again, NASCAR is going to be looking at this.
The 4 of Kevin Harvick said he had a hard time accelerating. You see there he doesn't go. The 6 goes to the outside, and the 4 catches him in the bumper, spinning the 6. But behind them, there's even more contact.
95, Michael McDowell involved. Numerous cars involved in this one.
So right here we see they're under green flag. NASCAR's looking at the track trying to determine if these cars can drive off. It's very important to see who the leader is when the light comes on.
Caution comes out, and that's how close it is to determine who wins this race.
And not just who wins, it's the entire chase field. The 18, 31, 4, all right on edge. Where will they end up?
NASCAR will take as much time as they need to make sure they get it right. Who was in front? Where was everyone running? From NASCAR, they are telling us that the 22 was in front, and so Joey Logano will sweep round 2. Unofficially, Joey Logano, the winner at Talladega. 3 consecutive wins in the second round of the chase. Mixed emotions out of the crowd.
You know, there'll be people that say, why did NASCAR let them race back? NASCAR couldn't let them race back. As soon as the determination is made of why they're going to have to throw a caution, that's when the caution needs to be thrown. That's when you have to throw the caution. So I know people are going to say they should have let it go. Should have let it go till Alpha turn 4, then slow everybody down. It can't work like that. NASCAR's got to be consistent in saying if there's cars that make heavy impact, there's cars on a racetrack, we're going to have to throw the caution.
Mike Kelton said it in the pre-race show. It's the responsibility of the entire field to have good restarts, not just the front row. You saw there, back through the field was the trouble. Had nothing to do with the front row. They're just racing as hard as they can. NASCAR, as you said, Jeff, had no choice. Cars are on fire. They had to get safety workers to them.
Based on safety, they had to throw the yellow flag to get the safety crews out to these drivers who are now sitting just past the start-finish line with cars that aren't able to run.
And so the conversation has been over the years, why do they throw the caution sometimes and why do they not throw them other times? We've seen wrecks on the back straightaway where there was simple spins and nobody had heavy impact. NASCAR let them race. We've seen them spin or wreck on the back straightaway when the leaders aren't going to have to run back through them, but they make heavy impact, and that's when they threw the caution. They did the same thing today. That's what you have to do. People will say they need to do the same thing every time. Well, listen, it's not the same incident every time. If no one's hit, if no one's made contact, if the drivers can go through, if the wreck's in turn 2 and the start-finish line is over here, why not let them race? But in this situation, they had to roll personnel to get to the drivers.
Because they would be coming back into this area at speeds of 200 miles an hour, and you can't have 3 cars stopped on the apron and safety crews trying to get to them.
They had 3 cars stopped there for a reason, because that's where they just crashed. And the next time through the white flag, if there's an accident, that's where they're going to end up.
Yeah, as a driver, if I'm Denny Hamlin in the front of I took that big of a hit, I'm expecting someone to come check on me, make sure I'm okay. People will say they're not consistent. The fact of the matter is every incident is different. They need to call it for the way it happened on the racetrack, and in my eyes, that's what they did today, and they got it right.
13 career wins for Joey Logano. Let's look once again at what happened on this restart. The 4 checked up, tried to get up, caught the 6, and then a chain reaction behind him.
And the 4 car had a major engine issue, could not keep up. Everybody had to try to go around him. We talked about it before the restart started. He couldn't go to the back of the pack. He had to stay where he was. If he'd have gone to the back, he would not have transferred. He would not have done it. So him staying in the middle of the pack created a scenario that this all happened, but he had no choice.
You see right here at the 11, heavy contact into the 14, ending his day.
A lot of cars stopped just past the start-finish line. This was the restart as everything was happening behind them. Joey Logano in front of the 88 when the caution came out. One more look. Cars involved in this, the big one. We're going to continue to wait until NASCAR gives us the 8 names of the drivers that will advance into the 3rd round of the chase. The playoffs, everyone knew coming into Talladega it was going to be hectic. The nerves would be at its highest. The only one that's able to celebrate right now, Joey Logano. 3rd win in the last 3 races. We'll hear from him next. One driver ready to celebrate in victory lane, Joey Logano. Let's go down to Dave.
Steering wheel comes out, and the beverages fly. Joey Logano flew to victory lane this afternoon, and he sweeps round 2 of the 2015 chase. Come on down here. Can you even believe you did that?
No, this team is unbelievable. 3 in a row. You believe that? How does it even happen? What an amazing team we got. We've come to play this year, so I'm so proud of everyone here. Obviously, I think Shell and Pennzoil, AAA Auto Trader, AutoZone, Ford, Roush Yates again for the motors they give us. This big pony racetrack here. You need to have the horsepower once again, like we did last week. Snap-on, SKF, Coca-Cola, Wheels Up. I mean, everyone that helps us out with Team Penske here. It's just unbelievable this season. I can't believe it. 3 in a row.
And the crazy ending to end this one. What was going through your mind there?
I was confused after the first one. I saw the green flag fly, and I was like, man, I thought the green flag flew, and that was an attempt. But we just had to do it one more time, which is it's just cool. We play by NASCAR's rules. We're in their sandbox, and we'll play by those, and thankfully it worked out for us.
Before the end of the race, Joey, your good run could affect the race in so many ways. Were you thinking about keeping others out? Were you thinking about helping your teammate, or just about the win?
It's all about winning. We want to help our teammate out as much as we can, but as you can tell lately, this team's all about winning.
The 22 has won again. They are in victory lane for the 3rd time in as many weeks, Rick.
Let's take a look at today's Coca-Cola winning moment as Joey Logano takes home the checkered flag. It was the final restart. Staying in front of the 88 as that caution came out. 22 was in front of the 88. Logano gets credit for the win at Talladega. And the driver who was oh so close and led 61 laps is standing by with Marty.
This one in for Dale Earnhardt Jr. certainly did not win the race. Put yourself in position to do so. Walk me through the final restart and your take on that, Junior.
I couldn't believe he gave me the bottom. I was like, man, this is a gift. I was going to win the race for sure. But that caution came out, and I'm fine with the new rule. And everybody's going to debate that. We were thinking before the race that they made a good change on the green-white checker to go to 1, and I still feel that way. Per the rules, we run second. I can live with that. The 22 did a great job. He had a hell of a round winning all 3 races. So if he wins the championship, he can look back on this round here that set him up. I'm proud of what we did today. We did everything we needed to do. Just fell a little short about about the width of the splitter, and you know how I hate that splitter, so another reason.
Exactly right. Should NASCAR have let you guys run longer under that green, white checkered before throwing the caution?
Another 100 yards, I'd have been in the lead, but NASCAR makes the calls. They're the governing body, and I have 100% faith in the choices that they make. I'm not going to, not going to be too upset about it. I did everything I could. I'm proud of myself, proud of my team. My guys did a good job on pit road. We had a little issue, but if this group sticks together, we're gonna do great things next year, and I believe in all of them. I'm proud of what we did. We just, we can sit here and pout about this day, but we didn't do good enough in the first 2 rounds. If we'd done better in the first 2 rounds, those first 2 races of this round, we would not be worried about, losing by a splitter. So we didn't do a good job in those first 2 races. So we got to try to win another race for the year's out, have some fun. Martinsville's coming up. I'm excited about that. And we got a great team. This is my first year with Greg, and we're just going to get better. He's going to get better. So we got a lot to look forward to. It's disappointing, but proud of the car, and we really worked hard, and we did a hell of a job today.
When we were standing here and didn't really know the results, he told me, you know what, even if they gave it to me, I wouldn't feel good about it anyway. Kelly?
Matt Kenseth was right in the middle of that final wreck, but Matt, really the drama's even started for you early in this race. I know you were upset with Joey Logano, the eventual winner, throughout. What are your thoughts on how this Talladega race played out?
It was a pretty tough ending. The 4-0 knew he was blowing up, and told everybody he's going to stay in his lane. Well, he did that so somebody could get outside of him and he could cause the wreck to finish the race. So we got tore up 2 weeks in a row trying to make it. We weren't going to make it anyway. We weren't fast enough to run up front today, but it's disappointing. It wasn't really racing. To be honest with you, there's just a lot of games going on, and you can hardly blame a guy for doing it. He's either going to make it if he does that, and wreck some people going slow, or he's not going to make it if it goes green for 2 laps. But I don't know. It just feels like we kind of lost control on this situation. I hope we get back to racing next week and everybody going fast and trying to win.
In a season where you had 5 wins and showed so much strength early in this chase, how do you reconcile with that now being out after round 2?
Well, we have 5 wins so far. I feel like we got a great race team. These DeWalt guys, Dollar General, we got great partners. I'm looking forward to going to Martinsville. We're going to go there, and hopefully we can be up front and get us a couple more wins here before the year's over.
All right, thank you, Matt. Mike?
And Kelly, Denny Hamlin just walked out of the care center, and obviously a disappointed driver staring at the scoring right now, which is unofficial. First off, let's start with that last restart and the crash. What happened?
Ford could only run about 30 miles an hour, so I think he saw people coming, and he knew he was probably going to be 30th last car on the lead lap, so caused a wreck, and, but that's nor here nor there. We had a self-inflicted day. It took us 4 times to get our roof fixed, and unfortunate. I mean, feel like I've done everything I possibly could do to advance, but just one bad race in a 3-race season obviously takes you out. So it's frustrating knowing that we very well could have won next week, but I don't know. I really can't spin any positive on it right now.
I want to ask you about the roof flap. It seemed like an odd situation. What happened there?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what broke or whatever, but it peeled up. And what's frustrating is, I guess, they didn't tell us we had to come in, but we came in and tried to fix it. We didn't get it fixed. We tried to come in again and get it fixed. We didn't fix it, and went a bunch of laps down. So that's tough, but we'll just move on to next year.
Thanks for your time in a very difficult situation.
Thank you.
Denny Hamlin.
Thank you, Mike. And Denny Hamlin just referenced it, those final restarts. And the 4 of Kevin Harvick. We knew he couldn't get up to speed. Let's take a look at the 2 restarts that took place.
We saw the next last restart. Kevin Harvick is in the outside lane. He sees the guys coming from behind him. He knows he can't get going. So in this case, look at the gap between the 15. He just can't get going. He moves up and gives room for everybody to go. We talked about this before the last restart. We talked about it, saying I didn't think he could afford to do that. So this wreck starts, and that saves him. That enabled him to keep his position. So then as we move forward, the last caution, here he is again. Again, the gap with the 15. He can't keep up. He's starting to keep up a little bit. 15 goes, he can't go. Trevor Bayne turns right, and this is the part that we heard the 2 drivers talk about. They believe he did that on purpose, trying to turn into the 6th car and cause the caution.
but that's what really rises this track up.
Now let's take a look on board with Kevin.
You see Kevin looking in the mirror. That's pretty standard. You got to look in the mirror, and there's the contact.
Big racket behind you. You dig it.
When you know you have an engine trouble, you have to look in the mirror. That's what you do. You know the problem's coming from behind, and this is the part that, we heard 2 drivers make comments saying he intentionally wrecked the 6 to cause a caution. They make contact, the wreck starts.
Kevin Harvick, defending series champion.
Matt, we're going to throw it back down to you for the presentation.
Let's hear from Jeff Gordon. He's with Dave Burns.
Unofficially third at this point. A good run for you today, but a lot of things you may have never seen in all your 46 starts here.
You know, Talladega can surprise you at any time. I actually had a lot of fun out there. We had an awesome 3M Chevrolet, and it was so much fun battling up front. Even if we got shuffled back a little bit, I was able to drive up through there. You know, I was really looking forward to working with Dale Jr. there at the end, and when those guys swapped, I was like, man, this is going to be tough. And I thought maybe my only chance was splitting Joey and getting inside of him and getting 3 wide and maybe shuffling him out. But unfortunately, I had no idea all that crazy stuff that was going on behind me. I know the first restart, or green, white, checkered, Joey, I just kind of misjudged it, and I nailed him and almost spun him out, and then they started stacking up behind us. So crazy, absolutely crazy, but boy, what a relief. I know my wife, who was sick at home, was very relieved as well. So we're in. That is awesome.
I was going to say, Jeff, your emotions on advancing to the next round.
Oh my gosh, I just cannot believe this season's been a crazy season for us. But since the chase started, the attitude of this team, the momentum and the execution, the things that we weren't doing earlier in the year, we're doing them all right now at the right time. And I never thought in a million years that I'd be looking forward to coming to Talladega to advance through, but boy, I did today, and what a great race car, great race team, and watch out, we got something for them these next 3 or 4.
The drive for 5 still alive for Jeff Gordon. Marty?
Kurt Busch ran the first third of this race for pretty much the entire race, but even with that, and even though you advance, is it one of these races when it's over, you're like, oh, thank goodness that's done?
Oh, 10th is great. It just kind of shows everything we've done on the Haas Automation Chevy team to prepare for this and to go through what it takes to get a restrictor plate finish. And real proud of the team, all the pit stops and the pit calls, and then the way that the race shook out for us. Yeah, it seemed like we were in control and we finished solid, and now it's on to these final 4. I mean, being in the top 8 in points is a goal that every team has. We're there, and now we're going to utilize it to the best of our ability.
Walk me through that final restart from your standpoint, Kurt.
I was on the inside lane, and we were plus 13. That's the news that I got. And my little brother was plus 2 behind me, and my teammate, Kevin Harvick, was on the outside. And so I was like, man, we all need to keep going. We don't need anything big to happen. And going up through the gears in the mirror, there's smoke, and there's cars going every which way. And so it's crazy how it can come down to a restart right at the end. It's almost like a jump ball on a buzzer beater is the way this system works.
Tony Gibson told me if you guys got through this round, he felt really good about the next round. How do you feel about round 3 shaping up for the 41 team?
I feel really good with him. Great team leader, all the guys back at the shop. I've won at the final 4 tracks. It's now even ground. We're even as a points leader going in. And you've got to do the job to get the ticket to go to Homestead and then capitalize on it there.
As he mentioned, 4 races left, and he's won at every one of those tracks. That bodes well for the 41 team, Rick.
Thank you, Marty. The reason we haven't been giving you the results is because they're not official. From 8th on back, NASCAR is still sorting out where everyone finished. That's why we still continue to not give you the names of the drivers that are advancing into the next round, because that's not official. We heard Jeff Gordon celebrating. He right now unofficially is 18 points in front of the cut line. Carl Edwards 20 points in front of the cut line. The 4 drivers unofficially that are below the cut line are Ryan Newman in the 31, Denny Hamlin in the 11, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88, and the 20 of Matt Kenseth. Again, unofficially, those are the 4 drivers that are outside of the top 8. Dave?
Rick, Carl Edwards said that Martin Truex could join our interview only if he's wearing his Carl Edwards t-shirt underneath. No confirmation of that. Let's start with Carl. You finished 5th today, and you're through. Your thoughts?
Man, just a great effort by our guys. We had a really fast car. Darian makes such great strategy calls up on the box, and just a fun day. Great for Subway. And now we move on. I'm really excited about Martinsville. We got a lot of help from Denny and the guys at that racetrack, and I feel like we can go there and win. So it's fun. We're still in this, and this is our mission, to win this championship.
Carl Edwards on to the championship in the next round. He's got to get through that. Martin Truex.
18, make it.
See, now they're just, I mean, you're finding this out as we go, right? Yeah. We're still getting the official word from NASCAR on all the positions, but after the way your day started, are you surprised you're standing right here talking about moving on?
Not surprised. Okay. Talladega, you know, you never know what can happen. You got to fight till the end. You got to, keep your head in the game. So we tried to do that. Certainly, it's not the way we wanted to start. Starting the back wasn't a big deal. We planned on riding there a little while just to hope, make sure there wasn't an early, wreck that would take out a few guys. And once that cleared, we were going to race our way up through there. And come to find out, we had a bad pit stop and lost the draft first stop. So that definitely wasn't part of the plan. That made it, made it pretty frustrating most of the day. But honestly, just fought hard and did all we could, and you got a little bit of fortune when we got the lucky dog. We were able to get in that position at the right time, finally get a caution. And
I was going to say, how hard was that racing back there? Because you had the 3, the 43, you were all going for the free pass.
We had a lot of good cars back there with us trying to get it, and here the lanes shuffle back and forth so quick, and we were back and forth. All 3 or 4 of us were just swapping it back and forth. And finally, at one of those green flag pit cycles, we were able to get in front of those guys pretty far and get in one of those single file lines that was really fast. And then luckily, just the caution came out. I mean, it was, good Lord took care of us today. So once we got that out of the way, it was smooth sailing. And I got to say, the race was really, really fun today. Everybody did a great job. It was a blast. Guys were really racing hard, but we've never seen the big one, and that's a testament to the skills out there and everybody we race with. It was really a lot of fun to race here today.
Congrats on moving on. Let's go to Marty Snyder.
David, I don't think there's anyone more excited for the official results than Kyle Busch, who's standing here currently in. Are the nerves worse now, waiting for the official word, than they were on the racetrack?
No, I'm just, I guess numb is the word for it. It just is what it is, So it's kind of the mentality that we came into this race day with, is just perform and race and let it all play out there on the racetrack. And, of course, it's never for some excitement, that's for sure, there at the end. And, especially surrounding a bunch of other guys there on the racetrack, but now surrounding us, essentially. But, I can't say enough about our team. We fought hard all day long, all year long, and, we've had some really good cars and some really good finishes. And today I thought that, we could run top 5, top 10, and I felt like we were going to finish there, and then I just kept getting cycled out at the wrong time in the wrong lane, and just didn't quite work for me. So, our M&M's Halloween special showed some speed, though, and thanks Sam's Club and everybody. It's important for us to go out here and hopefully make it through and go on in the next round. I've said it from the beginning, if we can make it through this round, then the next round should be pretty simple for us and on to Homestead, so we'll see how it goes.
As we said, unofficially in as of right now, were you aware of how crazy it was? Because literally one lap you'd be in, the next lap out, some laps you were tied. Were you aware of all that?
No, I never was. I didn't care. I just knew that running hard and having a good finish was going to be the best thing for us, and the points were going to take care of themselves. So, for us there, I think when that late caution came out when McMurray blew up, I pretty much just kind of looked around and I saw a bunch of yellow spoilers in front of me, and I said on the radio, we're pretty much out, right? And they're like, yep, you're out. So I knew that the last couple restarts I was going to have to make some hay and get something going on. And weird things conspired, and I didn't really have a chance to get anything going on, but I picked off some spots. So, more power to us, just staying out of trouble.
We still wait, but unofficially right now, Kyle Busch into round 3, Rick.
We want to take another look at the final 2 restarts from a different perspective. This is from the flag stand as we look to the field coming to the flag stand.
Yeah, so on the first restart, they see Joey Logano had a problem. NASCAR threw the green flag, and then they end up throwing the caution before the cars. There you can see the caution before the cars are to the start-finish line. So NASCAR made the determination that really wasn't an attempt at the green-white checkered. As we move into the second one, you can see everybody take off. Again, see Trevor Bayne on the outside. The record starts right there. Green flag still waving, still waving. The caution comes out after the cars cross the start-finish line. So that's why the second restart counted and the first one did not.
And again, incredible implications as far as drivers who have a chance at advancing into the 3rd round and still have a shot at the title. Joey Logano solidified his position. Dominant performance in round 2.
How about Joey Logano? We talk about a win and you move forward. Well, he won all 3 races. He eliminated the opportunity for any other team to win their way forward. That has got to move him as the favorite to round 3. But what I thought was interesting, I heard a whole bunch of drivers say round 3 is going to be way easier. Well, only 4 are going to make the Homestead. They're going to have to decide which one of those drivers is round 3 truly going to be easy for, because right now I look at some difficult racetracks with Martinsville, Phoenix, and Texas still on the list.
And I'm pretty sure only one won in this segment. So how all of a sudden everybody's going to start winning races, it's going to be interesting to see.
Next week starts round 3, and it takes place at a short track, Martinsville Speedway. That begins the 3-race segment of round 3, and will determine who the 4 will end up being that will move on to Homestead. The question still is out there, who will the 8 drivers be that do advance into that 3rd round and still have a chance at the championship? Coming up now to straighten, or at least try to straighten this out, we go to Krista, Kyle, and DJ.